who is also leading a union called the Amalgamated Rural Teachers Union of Zimbabwe. I am also a member of the Zimbabwe Solidarity Movement. Thank you.
Thank you very much, for that. We all witnessed what happened, yesterday, and we did not get to hear some of you guys, speak to us. Some of you citizens, speak to us. So today we just thought that we'll give you the opportunity to address us. So I'll give you the floor, President Obet. If you can address us, talk to us about this constitutional crossroads.
Thank you so much, Ango Jet. I think the most important thing is for Zimbabwe to pray for the victims of state brutality. Particularly, we understand what happened to the property of the director of Cyprus Trust, Mr. Professor Ibo Mandaza. His property was torched down for simply choosing to provide a venue for citizens who wanted to share their views with regards to the constitution reform process that is being proposed by ZANU-PF, which we have properly categorized as a mutilation of the constitution. Of course, we also stand in solidarity with the comrade from Highfield, whose house was also touched by what we still think are state agents, because if they were not state agents by now, they should have been arrested. We know how efficient our police service is. It's regrettable that the people who think their president is so popular that he should be given a third term are going around burning property as a way of trying to silence those who want to give alternative views. Now, when we approach the issue of the 2030, for us, our views are informed by the people we represent, from the constituents we come from, the Zimbabwe Solidarity Movement and the Union ATUs. We represent the workers in formal employment, 76% or more of them who are living on less than $3.20 per day. We also speak on behalf of civil servants whose salaries were slashed from around 540 to 270 today. We speak on behalf of women who are carrying the burden of unbearable care work, which is normalized by many. We speak on behalf of the pensioners who earn around $15 per month, which is only enough to take them to and from the bank. We speak on behalf of the artisanal miners who work so hard to extract gold, but when they want to sell it, the surplus value is illegally extracted by uh, by the cartel led by the likes of Scott Saupanya. But our hard-working artisanal miners hardly get anything. We speak on behalf of the tobacco farmers and the cotton farmers who toil day in, day out, but when they want to go to their market, they are shortchanged by middlemen who are politically exposed. We speak on behalf of villagers who agonize as they see their ancestral land being destroyed by the Chinese, who are being displaced, who see their rivers being poisoned, their source of water and life being destroyed. But all that is being done under the leadership of one Emerson Mnangagwa. So when we analyze it, when they say they want Emerson Mnangagwa to go beyond 2028, we are using those lenses. We are using that class perspective to say, as the subalterns, the marginalized and the excluded, we will never allow Emerson Mnangagwa to extend his term beyond 2028. That's unacceptable and unbearable. We have already endured so much under Emerson, and we want him gone as soon as yesterday. But it's not only because of now, it is also because of the future, where we view the attempt by Emerson to defile our constitution as a way of dragging us back to Mugabeism, as a way of creating another Paul Biya in Zimbabwe, as a way to have a figurehead occupying the presidency so that he can be manipulated by people who are not elected. We know that Emerson cannot be lucid to be a president beyond the next 3 years. Obviously, because of his age and what they've always seen from his performance, he won't be fit for office. And it's unacceptable to see that man insisting that he will be in office. We are so confident that it is not him who insists to be in office. It is the beneficiaries, the cabal benefiting from him being in office, who wants to push him to be a figurehead while they run the state affairs from behind the scenes and continue to strip our state of its assets and its wealth, and place it in private hands. But we have a message for Emerson Mnangagwa to say, President Mnangagwa, you have an option of salvaging what remains of your tainted legacy. How do you do that? Zimbabwe is locked in a crisis. What you can do is to call for national dialogue, to listen to your fellow compatriots, to say what should be done to make Zimbabwe a better state. We are giving Emerson Mnangagwa an opportunity to be remembered, to build a legacy of having been the president who built the state institutions that had been destroyed by Robert Mugabe. We built state institutions that were better than what was there during the colonial era, because we know state institutions during colonial era were serving a minority of white people. And we are urging Emerson to be that transformative leader who converts the state institutions that used it to serve elites to be state institutions that serve the majority of our people. So, but he can only do that if he begins with the process of national dialogue, to listen to Zimbabweans. Look at the model that was done in South Africa by President Ramaphosa, whatever for whatever reasons, but you can copy that model. But you also go on to implement recommendations from the Motlanthe Commission report. Go on to implement recommendations from different election observer missions that we've been observing our elections, passing recommendations that we never implemented. Invite a team of eminent Zimbabweans. Give that team whatever name so that they run a process of transforming our state institutions to become fit for purpose. We want to tell Emerson Mnangagwa that when he leaves office, he will need these institutions to protect him so that he can retire in peace. But if he leaves these state institutions in the state they are, he risks being dragged by these same state institutions and being persecuted. The same way these state institutions are being deployed to persecute those who oppose him today, is the same way these state institutions will be used to persecute him when he is forced out of office as he tried to cling on. Because obviously we know from the history of Zimbabwe, no one is going to succeed to be a president for life in this republic. Smith failed at it because of mass resistance. Mugabe failed at it, and Mnangagwa would definitely fail. And we are saying, President Mnangagwa, just don't try it. Go back to the basics. Try to salvage what remains of your legacy. Try to build state institutions so that when you go and rest, at least there will be state institutions to protect the republic and also to protect you. Now, the role of the citizen today, we have seen members of parliament going singing in parliament to say 2030, they are Mnangagwa, whatever nonsense they were singing. But we want to urge citizens that even if there is no recall mechanism to recall that parliamentarian, but that parliamentarian is still in your neighborhood, find time to engage that parliamentarian and knock sense into their heads, whatever methods you are able to use, so that when they go to vote, if voting is going to be done at some point, they should vote knowing what the people want. If we are still going to, if we are to protect democracy, we should be we should participate and be very active. And the first step in this context, if they want to bypass a referendum, then you should return the resident of your parliamentarian to be a polling booth where your voice should be heard by that parliamentarian before they go to vote. But we have also seen of late the mushrooming of what we term commissar intellectuals who are now sponsored to try to mislead the nation with the twisted intellectualism. We just urge citizens to always note that what is important is that when the constitution was drafted, the intention was to have two 5-year terms, which are so completely kept. And that is what we voted for in 2013. We never voted for all this twisted intellectualism of unlimited terms of office, among other things. So we never allow yourselves to be dragged into these unnecessary discussions. We reject such twisted intellectualism, and we reject the 2030 agenda, and we urge Mr. Emerson Mnangagwa to go home in 2028. There are other citizens who don't even want Mr. Mnangagwa to be in office until 2028. And those silent voices are the majority. And the more Mr. Mnangagwa provoke people by attempting to go beyond 2028, you will see the silent majority rising and pushing him out of office before even the end of his term. Thank you, Angojes.
Right. Thank you very thank you very much, for being the speaker who opens this discussion. I thank you for articulating the issues as you have done, and why you believe that whatever it is that Emerson Mnangagwa and these political parties and PF want to do must be resisted. I was watching a video earlier on. I can't remember if it is my sister Lynn who posted it, when Emerson Mnangagwa, during an interview with this anchor from CNN, I think it's Amon Paul, where he made a pledge to say that he's a constitutionalist. He is going to see out his 2 terms, and after his 2 terms, despite people wanting him to stay on, he is going to go after serving his 2 terms. And in that conversation and in that discussion, he understood that by 2 terms it means serving a 10-year period. And if he understands that what the 2 term limit in Zimbabwe speaks of is one serving a period of 10 years, not more than that, I wonder why his mum on this, where his people or those that are acting on his behalf. Because don't get it twisted, people. Emerson Mnangagwa is fully behind this thing. And I'm wondering why the people who are pushing and calling for him to extend his tenure by another 2 years, I wonder why they are not having this clear understanding that the 2 term limit in Zimbabwe speaks of one having served 10 years, not more than 10 years. So we wait to see, what happens. But thank you very much, um, Obed, for that. I want to welcome Jacob Ngarivume. Jacob Ngarivume, how are you? How are you doing, sir?
I am good, my brother. Greetings, Zimbabwe. Thank you for hosting this X-Space, my brother. God bless you.
Thank you very much. We meet again. I think, the last time that we spoke, I can't remember when was the last time. Oh, I remember. The last time that we spoke, you were with Honorable, Job Sikala, when I hosted you guys. But that we're under different circumstances. But here we are, President Ngarivume. We are at a crossroads. Yesterday, you were disrupted. Today, we give you the opportunity to address the citizens. Please take the mic.
Thank you very much, my brother. Greetings, Zimbabwe. I think it is very important for all of us to understand that we stand on a very precarious position as a nation. The intention by ZANU-PF to extend unconstitutionally the term limits of the president would be disaster to this country. And the need for us to defend the constitution of Zimbabwe is there for all to see. The democratic rights of every citizen are under attack. This is not only an illegal process that they want to embark on, but it is grossly unconstitutional. It is undemocratic. and is against the founding principles of our republic. They claim that they went to war to fight for one man, one vote, sovereignty, and so on. When you fight for people's rights, you never have a right then to take away those rights, whatever reason and whatever circumstances. But we see one by one, ZANU-PF has been taking away the people's rights, which we all collectively fought for. I was 2 years by 1980, and many other people, my parents fought in the war, my brothers fought in the war, we all sacrificed in the war. No one has got a monopoly to fighting for the freedom of Zimbabwe. We all collectively did that. But ZANU-PFs, tend to forget, have the time, and they claim that they are the only ones who actually liberated this country. And now we see a very dangerous trajectory and path that they want to take. The constitution of Zimbabwe has been violated over and over. I've been to prison. They violated section 97 of the constitution, which warrants them to be impeached and dismissed. One by one, every time they go out to beat people, they're violating the constitution. Every time people are killed in the streets, one violation of the constitution. But we have not, as a nation, at least the other. They've moved step to step, and they've continued to the point that now they want to throw the constitution away by the process of extending the presidential term limits. I will just we want to be clear about. I know my colleagues who are lawyers, Mukoma Tendai and Mukoma Job, as well as Mukoma Gwisai, Comrade Gwisai, will do justice. And my brother, Coach, I will just briefly touch on what exactly 6 main points that are at the core of our resistance to what they want to do. I mean, the first point, of course, is section 91, subsection 2 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe, which is very clear and unequivocal, that a person may only hold the term of office of president for a maximum of 2 5-year terms. The current plan want to disregard.
Right.
The,
Right. President Garufumi, we are experiencing a technical issue with your mic. You are coming in and out, in and out. I don't know if your network is stable there.
my network is good. I don't know what's happening that side, but my network is good actually.
All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you can bear with him, he's coming in and out, in and out. And as you know that we might be having a technical issue, but when he comes back, I think he's following through from where you would have left Panenge Paita, that silence. So if you can please bear with him as he goes through the 6 points that he wants to go through. Over to you, President Garfumi.
Okay, are you hearing me? Because I'm not
Yes,
so
I can.
sure if
Yes,
people are hearing me.
yes,
Yeah.
I can hear you. People are hearing you.
Okay.
It's only that there's a break, coming in here and there and there. But please continue.
Okay, fine. Thanks, my brother. So I'm saying I want to highlight the 6 major points that basically we are using to defy what is happening. Firstly, the violation of Section 92 of the Constitution, 91 of the Constitution. And then my second point is to say, the Constitution has got a supremacy over party directives. The Constitution is the supreme law of Zimbabwe. And any resolution of a political party, whichever political party it is, has no legal force to amend and suspend the supreme law of the land. I think we need to appreciate that as a people. Kuti vanhu vekuzanu-PF vari kuti vakasangana voti we can change the constitution. That's unacceptable. The constitution should remain the supreme law of the land, guiding all of us. It's so crazy when these people think that because they are ZANU-PF, they can do whatever they want. And for your own information, what is happening clearly, there are divisions even within ZANU-PF. I would want to believe that it's not at all everyone. They're not in the majority, those people who want to change the constitution within ZANU-PF. They're not in the majority. They are in the minority. The majority of the people in ZANU-PF, I believe, they are against this constitution. We know already there are huge divisions within ZANU-PF itself. I can even mention the fact that, already we're seeing the Vice President, General Chiwenga, not attending SONA, not attending anti-sanctions gatherings that they are holding, which clearly to us as citizens is indicative that there are serious divisions within ZANU-PF because of this move that they are doing. So resolutions within ZANU-PF can't overrule the supreme law of the constitution. But of course, we also know and are aware that as a nation, our institutions are captured. The judiciary is captured, and I'm not scared to say it that we've got a captured judiciary that has told the line of individuals within ZANU-PF, not ZANU-PF at large, but individuals within ZANU-PF control the judiciary. They control the levers and instruments of power, which is what they use against the people of Zimbabwe. And that's unacceptable. That's completely unacceptable. I think this is time for us all to unite and come together and say no to what is happening. Then the third point I want to raise is, if any plan to skip the 2028 general elections strips millions of Zimbabweans of their most fundamental democratic right, which is the right to choose their leader through a free, fair, and regular election. You see, I want ZANU-PF and those behind the 2030 nonsense, I want them to understand that sovereignty resides in the people of Zimbabwe, and attempting any effort to deny them that scheduled election is by definition an authoritarian power grab. It's unacceptable. The people have a right to go back to elections and choose their leaders as enshrined in our constitution. And of course, the fourth point I want to say is, any attempt to amend presidential term limits is subject to strict and rigorous legal processes, requiring 2/3 majority in both houses of parliament. And of course, we also know that crucially established, there is need for a referendum, which they want to bypass. They want to jump and skip clearly laid out legal procedures. Kuite chitsotsi chaicho chaicho kuita sokuti vana veMazimbabwe tiri madununu anoreva one of them. We are not like that. We are not like that. The children of Zimbabwe are not as foolish as they want to believe. They know clearly that going back to the people to get that mandate, they won't get it. If we were to go for a referendum, they will be defeated square and fine. And then they want to create bypasses and gateways to avoid going and to face the people of Zimbabwe. That is unacceptable. That is unacceptable. And let me say, the fifth point I want to raise is that, there's clear regression to authoritarian past. We're coming from an authoritarian rule of Robert Mugabe, and some actually believe that Emmerson Mnangagwa was going to be any better, but alas, he's just worse ED is just getting worse. And this attempt to kill the constitution of the country is unacceptable. Is completely unacceptable. These maneuvers would fatally undermine regional and international democratic norms and signal a deepening commitment to totalitarian rule by this ZANU-PF regime. It's unacceptable. It's absolutely unacceptable what they want to do. And of course, the sixth and last point that I want to raise is that the 2-term limit was a component of the constitutional consensus achieved in 2013, supported by a popular referendum. It represents a sacred social contract between the state and citizens. Unilaterally tearing it up for political expedience shows contempt for the Zimbabwean people and destroys faith in the very concept of constitutionalism and the rule of law. And that is unacceptable. Why should we allow ED to break that social contract with the people of Zimbabwe? Saka, now the message which is very clear, Kuti, as they are trying to destroy this social contract, the people of Zimbabwe have come together to unite. And for the first time, I would want to tell you, Kuti, for the first time, opposition political forces, civil society, church organizations, only today, let me report to you to say, I think over 10, 15 church organizations reached out to me saying that they want to be part of this process. War veterans organizations, war veterans and different groups of veterans associations, they've been reaching out to us to say we want to be part of this agenda to resist the illegal and corrupt desire to change the constitution to suit an individual. So what they are actually doing is that they are giving impetus and fresh life to the fight for democracy in this country. For the people of Zimbabwe to come together to converge and resist this. So which is actually a huge positive. People have had their own differences. Our struggle has been long and the battle painful. But now what is happening is that this agenda by ZANU-PF is bringing us together. And even within ZANU-PF itself, there are a lot of people. Let me report to this platform that there are people within ZANU-PF who have been reaching out to us to say, please, gentlemen, we are behind you fully. Should they take this thing to a referendum, we will beat them hands down because we will never vote for such nonsense. So they've created real problems for themselves. And their only response to it in terms of the problem they've created, they want to stop anybody who wants to speak out. When we gathered yesterday, they were beating up people. They arrested some people only to release them later. What regime is it in the world that bars people from holding a press conference? Have we stooped so low? But again, as I said at the beginning, we've allowed these things to happen because we have not triggered Section 97 as a people. When ED violated the Constitution left, right, and center over and over, when Honorable Job Sikala spent nearly 2 years in pre-trial detention, we should have held them to account to say, this is not right, you are breaking the law. Last time they arrested me they arrested me for a crime that happened when I was even outside the country. And they said I was at Jameson Timber's house for a meeting. And I've never, up to today, I've never been at my brother, Honorable Timber's house. I've never been there. But I went to three months at Chikurubi, in pre-trial detention for a meeting that I never attended. So the thing is, have we held them to account to say you are continuously breaking the law and we want you to go? We should not be even talking about the 2030 nonsense. We should be talking about ED being forced to resign because he has broken the law and the constitution of Zimbabwe. This is not the first time he intends to break it. He has done it before, and we should trigger Section 97. So what I want to appeal to all of us is to say, Let us come together. And I think our differences are not bigger than the problems that ED wants to create now. Let's set aside those differences. Let us come together. Let us unite. I like the attitude of war veterans, churches, civil society. They are all saying, what are the next steps? We want to be part of it. And if eventually you call us to the streets, we'll go en masse to show our desire to resist this evil, to change the constitution of the country. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I will give the floor back to you, our host.
Thank you very much, President Ngaruvume. Thank you very much, Jacob. I do appreciate addressing us, talking to us. The 6 points, that you've raised. I hope folks, will have a better understanding of why there is a need to respond to the Zimbabwe's constitutional crisis that is about to be unleashed on us as Zimbabweans through the resolution number 1, which ZANU-PF want to enforce, which will lead to Emerson Mnangagwa extending his term of office by 2 years. Thank you very much for that. My sister Silenko Simoyo, it is almost 7 now. Are you ready for me? Silenko Simoyo? Right. She seemed not to be there. Right. Honorable Job Sigala, can I
Uncle
come to
Jets.
you? Yes, can I come to you now? I'm still looking, for others. As Honorable Tendai Biti is still there. Is still to respond to the invite, but I'm not sure. I saw Honorable Prince Tobacco in there. If I can kindly ask you, sir, to make a request, and then I'll bring you onto the podium as a speaker. But if you can also point me to the other speakers, especially from those that were going to be speaking in Bulawayo, it would be very much appreciated. And then we can have as many of you guys, speak to us. But Honorable Job Sigala, since you're the only one, who's here, who can respond, can I give you, the floor to address us?
While Honorable is coming, Uncle, can I just ask people? So we've got over 600 people. Can we please just repost this space so that we can get a lot of people coming in to participate in the conversation? Please, if we can just repost. If you click on the comment section there, you will see an option to repost. Just asking you people to repost. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, for that, Mofu Titus. Yeah, I think it's important that we get people to repost, this. And thanks to those who are streaming on various, platforms. Thank you very much for helping, spread, the message. I see Honorable Sigala is dropped, but Prince Tubeko Siban, Honorable, how are you? How are you doing?
Uncle Jota, how are you?
I am good, sir. I'm good. Thank you very much for coming through.
Indeed, thank you so much for inviting us onto this platform.
Oh, you're very welcome. Yesterday, I saw there was somehow a kerfuffle with people dressed in civilian. What was going on there?
What happened yesterday? We woke up in the morning to report that police officers and other people in civilian clothing had sealed the entrance to the Blawayo Club, which is the venue that we had booked for the meeting, for the press conference. In fact, before I got those reports, I had received calls from the managers at the Blawayo Club indicating that some 4 or 5 huge men came to the club a day before and told them that they shouldn't allow the presser to go ahead. And that in the morning, 8 more had come And when I inquired, then because the hotel, the club were now asking us to shift the venue because they felt that their employees and their property was no longer safe from the people that I saw. And I also then got information from the system itself to the effect that instructions were given a day before yesterday to the effect that the presser should not go ahead. And I got also information that the people that were there were dangerous. In fact, I was warned that you go there at your own risk, but the people that are there are dangerous. And if you want to see, just drive by in a car and check the people that are there. So I did exactly that. I passed through the place and I saw multitudes of people dressed in police uniform, but also multitudes of bouncers, literally bouncers like those that you find in drinking clubs. So I then later learned that some of my colleagues and journalists were being chased away from the club, and then I decided to go there with the team that I had. We were close to about 20, and we when I got there, I was asked where I was going, and I told them that I was going inside to hold a press conference. And then they told me that the press conference had been cancelled. And then I asked who cancelled it. And they said it is the security. And then I said, which security specifically? Because I need to know. And even when then I asked who these gentlemen were, because the majority of them were not in any uniform, they were in civilian clothing. And apparently some of them were actually identified as bouncers, local bouncers, who might be members of ZANU-PF or who might have just been hired. In fact, some of them are combi drivers. They were identified and people continue to identify them up to today. But we also realized that there were new faces that are not common in Bulawayo. But yeah, they were menacing, they were dangerous, they were prepared to do anything. In fact, you could tell that they were very much prepared to do anything towards anyone who defied their order. So I introduced myself and told them that I had booked the place and that I would like to see the general manager. They allowed me to go in to see the general manager, who told me that, as you can see, Honorable, there's no way that I can help you. So I then went out and asked who the police officer who had ordered the cancellation of my meeting was, and they pointed to a superintendent. I talked to that superintendent, and when I asked him what his name was, he couldn't positively identify himself. So the most worrying situation to most of us is when police and other security agencies begin to collaborate or work in cahoots with hired men and women. That is quite worrying. Because what it means that the police and other security agents were now taking instructions from other people that are not security personnel. And that is quite a dangerous situation. So we ended up then leaving that place because we then had been told that amongst them there were some snipers that were there, and those people are identified snipers. That they were ready to shoot at anyone and kill. So we then left the place, the venue, and we regathered. But even as we went, we were being followed by these hired goons, threatening and menacingly to all that were there. So we went and tried to regroup, but we could see that they were following us. We had a brief discussion amongst ourselves as a team, and we agreed that maybe for purposes of peace, let us disperse, and agreed that we were not going to hold another presser at another venue because it was a general feeling by colleagues that the disruption itself was news was so newsworthy that our presser would dilute it, and that our presser and statement can be given in any other form anyway. So that's what we went through yesterday, Uncle Dex.
Oh, thank you very much, for giving us, the lowdown of what happened, yesterday. But despite that disruption and the spirited efforts to want to try and address, the people, which could not, happen, yesterday, you tried your level best to, to make it work. But due to our circumstances, it was not possible. So I'll give you this opportunity, Honorable, to talk to
Yeah,
us, to address us,
yeah.
the same way that you wanted to address us, yesterday. Please, can you continue?
Thank you so much, Uncle Betts. I think this story of attempting to literally muzzle and control the Constitution of Zimbabwe by Emerson Mnangagwa can be traced back to of course the common 2017 one we know, but also to immediately after the 2018 elections. That's when Emerson started to decimate the Constitution, and with the sole intention of making sure that he controls each and every institution of authority in this country. Any institution that is supposed to be a buffer towards human rights and democracy, he made sure that he decimated them or he controlled them, and they report directly to him. So his first point of call was to make sure that he removed the running mate clause. That's how daring this gentleman is. He is so daring when it comes to power. He wants it at any cost. So he removed the running mate, and the running mate is his running mate. Theoretically, or if you look at it politically, was General Chiwenga, the man who a few months earlier had assisted him to ascend to power. He is the first person that he demobilized. He made sure that he doesn't want to share the power of presidents with anybody. It has to be with him and him alone. Then he went for the judiciary. He reversed the appointment of the Chief Justice, Deputy Chief Justice, and the Judge President of the High Court from being appointed through a publicly conducted interview. And then he said he was going to appoint them directly. So when we ignored the running mate clause, we told ourselves as Zimbabweans that ainyaya Chiwenga, Chiwenga loco. But we didn't know that ultimately he'll get at us. All of us together. So he then captured the judiciary by making sure that the three most powerful judiciary positions pay allegiance to him. And make no mistake, Uncle Betts, in the history of this nation, ever since civilization and some kind of governance started in this country, there was never a time when a judge was invited to State House to discuss about a case like we saw here pertaining to the case of Mtswangwa's son. A judge was summoned to State House. Come here. But we are grateful the judge then after that recused herself from the matter, which was ethical in my view. But we have never seen it before. It has never been recorded that a judge, a sitting judge of the High Court, is invited to State House to be questioned about a case that she is presiding on. Then after that, he increased the term of office of the Chief Justice. and made the Chief Justice to enjoy that amendment, even though he was an incumbent and who was not supposed to benefit from the extension of the term limit. He made him to do that. No referendum, nothing. Now, if now he says, I also want to extend mine, Chief Justice, I extended yours. Which court will you go to try and reverse that? Show me which court a Zimbabwean will go to say, no, this person wants to extend their term of office. And that we find that to be unlawful. Court, can you interpret? How do you think Chief Justice Malaba is going to deal with that matter? Remember that there were judges of the High Court that had actually made a ruling that he could not benefit from the extension of limit of time. And what happened? They were censored. Those judges were censored. So, this is the situation that we have. After he captured the judiciary, he then used the judiciary to decimate the opposition. And the test run was in 2020, after the judgment by Justice Patel. Monzora and Kupe took over the party, and they started chasing whomever. They were doing work for E.D. Mnangagwa. And it was after that, those recalls, that the amendment number 1 and amendment number 2 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe were introduced in Parliament. And then we come to 2023. In fact, some of us who had been recalled in order to facilitate Constitutional Amendment number 1 and number 2, when we went back after a by-election, those had already been passed. And then come 2023, everyone knows what happened in 2023. It doesn't happen in a normal democracy that a person can arise from nowhere and call himself a position that is not known to anybody, and then decimate the opposition. Now, we don't have a parliament in terms of what we envisaged in the 2013 constitution as it was. We don't have a parliament. We don't have a parliament because it has become a parliament where the opposition, despite a reasonable number, in fact, in 2023, ZANU-PF had not achieved the 2/3 majority. We had 103 members of parliament. So even trying to circumvent the referendum would not have worked with the parliament that we had in 2023, the parliament that had been elected in 2023. If it had remained in the manner that it was elected by the people, even with those results that are questioned in some respects, but still, ZANU-PF and E.D. Mnangagwa would not have managed. So in order to get that beyond 2/3 majority, he had to decimate so ruthlessly, and so brazenly. During daylight, while everyone is watching, it started like a drama. Some of us, when it started, we said, this is a drama. Because this Chabang is known by nobody. You can call anyone in the street and they'll tell you that we don't know this one in this party. But yes, he was allowed to decimate parliament. What for? For this moment that we find ourselves now. Chabang was an ED 2030 project. And it was being run from the office of the president. We are aware that some letters that were written by Chabang would be withdrawn by Isaac Moyo then when he was Director General, and go and instruct him to say, no, this one, remove them from the list. It was controlled directly and paid for from the president's office. Legal fees for Chabang were paid directly from the president's office. And when the president's office stopped, it was paid by Sapanya through the assistance of Jacob Mdenda. That if you don't assist this guy with legal fees, you know, this matter is going to be reversed and you are no longer going to be in parliament. So they paid legal fees. Meanwhile, judges were also instructed, try to find, because at one time we are aware that Chabang was told that we are no longer going to give you the judiciary cover. And for sure, that is the case that is seemingly lost, but of course was then corrected, if you put it in quotations. So all that was being done in order to allow E.D. Mnangagwa, not even 2030 that you are talking about. He wants to abolish the right to vote. Mnangagwa wants to become a king, Munumtapa. No wonder why all these funny celebrations about Munumtapa Day coinciding with his birthday. He wants to be king. Look at how frequent the visits to Swaziland have been by Mnangagwa. He wants to go and copy something there so that he comes to become a king. Now, what it means is that we are going to be ruled forever by a cabal, one man and a cabal. But we can't allow that to happen. We can't afford to allow that to happen. And E.D. Mnangagwa has got to know that. He can threaten us with death. He can threaten us with anything. He can try to bribe us with his money. But our unchangeable position is that we cannot allow democracy to continuously being receded by an individual. What for? For what benefit to the nation? When people went unanimously to go and vote for that constitution in a referendum, they had put up an architecture that we are not going to have an imperial president. We are not going to have a one-man show running our country, controlling our institutions, and looting our resources unabatedly. That's not what they dreamt of. They wanted a president who could be checked by his deputy because they were both elected. They wanted a president who could be checked by the judiciary. They dreamt of a president who could be brought to account by parliament. He has reversed everything. So that cannot happen, Uncle Bets. Zimbabweans will not allow that. Some of us are committed to face death. If it will be recorded that we were fighting for what was right. So the purpose of the press conference was to disseminate information to Zimbabweans, to understand that this thing that is being talked about is not a joke. We are dealing with a daring person that unless all of us together, we stand to stop the desecration of democracy. It is not only the desecration of the Constitution, it is of the democracy. You won't have a voice anymore. Because even if you try to raise your voice, they will arrest and detain you. There's no judiciary that will help you. No wonder why Walter Mzembe, he said that he should remain there. We have already heard the pronouncements that he should remain inside until. So you have no judiciary, you have no parliament, you are on your own in a prison cell, or they kill you.
Wow.
But that's not the country that those who went to war went for.
Absolutely. Wow. Oh, yeah, that was loaded. Thank you very much, Honorable, for the message of defiance and the call for unity. The way you've articulated this, wow. And you've given us some information that most of us, did not know that, this is what is happening in our country, and this is what was, going on. And the history lesson that you've given there, that speaks to the journey that was being traveled. It's quite profound and quite important for people to be knowledgeable so that they begin to understand why you guys and the rest of the people that wanted to speak yesterday saw it fit that they should address the Zimbabwean folks, the Zimbabwean people, pertaining to a constitutional crisis that is about to unfold in Zimbabwe. Thank you very much, Honorable Prince. I do appreciate. Uh, I want to move on, ladies and gentlemen, for the sake of time. I don't know, my sister Selenko Smoyo, are you there with us now?
Yeah, I'm here.
Are you ready to speak?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, thank you very much. I take it you were there yesterday, and as you said, earlier on, there's something that happened yesterday, and
Yeah.
you want to talk to us.
Yesterday- Yeah, yeah. Evening, everyone. Evening. My name is Lenkos Moyo. I'm the Deputy National Spokesperson of the National Democratic Working Group led by Dr. Skara. So I'm one of the progressive force leaders that have come and united under the banner no to 2030. But yesterday, as you have seen in the past week, that we advertised that we are going to have a presser yesterday. So when I went there in Blawayo, this side, it was raining yesterday. So see, the other members that went there first, they assessed the situation. Then they saw that it was tough. So for me, my phone was off. So I went straight to the venue. So when I approached the venue, I saw people outside. They were wearing civilian clothes. So I thought maybe they are with us. They are waiting since it was not time yet. So as I approached, I realized no, these are not normal civilians because they were not smiling. They were serious and they were only bouncers. I think there were 15 men of them, 15 men. So when I approached there, when I approached the door, they blocked the door. There were three women. They jumped and they surrounded me. The other one stood next to the other side. The other one stood next to the other side. So that's when I realized that no, this is no longer what I was thinking. So this is it. This is them. So quickly they asked me, "Madam, where are you going?" So I also thought that since my face was on that poster circulating. So I thought maybe the way they reacted, I saw that they were really waiting for that face. So they asked me, "Madam." So the other one, he came up front and he said, "Madam, where are you going?" Then I said, "I want to go inside." Then he said, "What do you want to do inside?" Then I said, "I want to see someone." Then he said, "Who is that someone?" Then I just there was just a name that I said I want to see someone called Dumsani at the reception. Then he said, "What does that Dumsani do?" Because I had to change my story because I saw that it was no longer safe for me. Then I said, "No, he works at the reception." But our facilitator from the regional southern region, he had went inside. He also disguised himself that he want to check the venue, he want to book the place. So when he came out, he realized that I was being interrogated. So he held my hand and he said, "No, it's fine, let's go." But to my surprise, when I realized some of the faces were familiar faces, some of the people that we work them where we work. So I was very disappointed. I was very disappointed. Yeah. So all I can say to the Zimbabweans and the people at large is that what we are fighting is bigger than we think. And I realized that this 2030 is a big project. And all I can say is that the ZANU PF will stop at nothing to protect it. They are ready to defend it and protect it. So if us, we are also saying no, we want to also defend it. I think we need more calculated measures. We need very, very stringent measures that can match their level. So we need all hands on the deck to stop it because when we go to when they are now I will realize that as Prince Dubego say that now they are also trying to ban the elections. So if they ban the elections, the elections are the only way Zimbabweans express themselves. And if I remember very well, there's this other time when President Idi Mnangagwa always say that the voice of the people is the voice of God. So that voice of the people is only heard mostly in through elections where they elect their leader. We all know that the people of Zimbabwe they've spoken and they always speak in every 5 years. They always select their leader, but the outcome becomes something else that we don't even know. So by banning these elections, we are saying, President Itinagaka, what you promised us or what you say that the voice of the people is the voice of God, we are now banning that voice. So who are you leading? What are you doing? Because as the citizens, we are not happy with what is happening. So we are saying, please try and look at what you are doing. Try and look. Don't like you mustn't listen to people that like those guys that are called Zikananda. Those guys they are in it for themselves. I don't know who's out advising him. Like what happened in Parliament? Honestly, you see a whole Parliament for a country doesn't have a backup for lightning because in other places, other businesses, as soon as Zesa cuts off, the backup plan or the solar is turns on itself. But for something like Parliament, that was very, very embarrassing and is for the second time. So all I can say to the people of Zimbabwe is that this thing that we are facing is not a small thing. It's a bigger thing and it has been planned and it has been well calculated. So if we are saying we are defending it or we are rising up, I think we need to stand up more, put more pressure. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you very much, my sister. For that, I do understand. The frightening situation that you found, yourself in, and finding out that some of the folks, that were part and parcel of that. Well, that could, that is something that is so disheartening. But thank you for adding your voice. Thank you for the reminder that you have given people that this thing, ladies and gentlemen, if it is not resisted, it is bigger than, this thing is bigger. And if it is not, resisted, we are going to find ourselves under a different animal, divorced from what we know, as a people. So thank you very much, for that. I want to move on, but before I move on, can I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, we are over 1,000 here. If you can repost this, it would be very much appreciated. It would be very much appreciated if you can repost. Right now, I can only see the reposts that have done that have been done, 96 reposts, and we're over 1,000 here. um Please, we want your participation in helping others as well to come through and be in a position to hear what the distinguished men and women who are here are saying with regards to the agenda, constitutional crossroads, citizens' response to Zimbabwe's constitutional crisis. Right, let me move on. Right, Honorable Job Sikala, you're in and out, in and out. I don't know what is going on, but I've got Honorable Tendai Biti. How are you?
Yeah, good evening, Comrade McBelt and fellow Zimbabweans and compatriots.
Thank you very much, for joining us. Thank you very much, for responding. Yesterday, I was looking forward, to hear you make, your full address. But even though I heard you speak, here and there, but I knew that, looking at you and knowing you, I knew that, there's a lot, that you wanted, to say. So I'll give you this opportunity, Honorable Tendai Biti, if you can, speak to us.
Thank you very much, Gerald, and thank you for creating this platform to allow citizens to speak on an issue, the threat to our constitution, which personally I consider the biggest existential threat that our country has faced since independence, probably since Gukurahundi. This is the threat to turn our country into a monarchy. This is the threat to turn our country into a dynasty, the Mafidi a dynasty. This is a threat to completely privatize our capacity as citizens to fight back. This is a threat to privatize and take away from us our sovereignty, our right to govern ourselves and to leave it monopolized by a cartel, by a clique, and by a syndicate. And the unfortunate thing about this syndicate is that there's been a conflation between the political elite, the political syndicate, and, and a mafia syndicate that has been grabbing Zimbabwean assets legally and extra legally, that is engaged in massive looting through public tenders. So this is the crisis we are facing, a huge, humongous crisis. I think the starting point must be, what is this constitution? This constitution represents an agreement, a compromise between the people of Zimbabwe, which we ratified, which we agreed to in the referendum that was held in March of 2013, in respect of which 93% of the people that voted in that referendum, equivalent to about 3.2 million people, ascended to that new contract, a new constitution. This was after a period of 3 years, 4 years of protracted negotiations between and amongst the Zimbabweans, followed by two very contentious all stakeholders conference. So this was a people-driven process born from public participation, in respect of which there was symbiosis, there was alchemy between the end product and the people of Zimbabwe, in respect of which every Zimbabwean could identify with a certain structure, could identify with a certain principle. So if you're a war veteran, you would have been very proud to know that the preamble of that constitution celebrates the three great Chimurengas that we have had. You would have been very pleased to know that the founding values, one of the founding values we have in this country, is the founding values of the liberation struggle. Those of us who came from the democratic polity would have been impressed by articles such as Article 2.1, which says that the Constitution is the supreme law of the country, and any act, conduct, or law inconsistent with the same is invalid to that extent. So we sought to create a new Zimbabwe. We sought to create a new society. We sought to create a new discourse. We sought to create a new consensus. And one of those consensus that we sought was that we did not want to see the presence of an all-powerful authoritarian president, what Prince Duveko has said, an imperial president. So we cut the huge powers that President Mugabe had, which arose after the collapse and conflation in 1987 of the office of the erstwhile normative president in the form of Kenan Banana and the executive prime minister. So this new individual found himself having crown powers and executive powers to create a very powerful imperial president. So one of the things that we sought to deal with in 2013 was this edifice of an imperial president that had been created lazily in 1987 by conflating the crown powers found in the titular president, Comrade Sodindo Banana, and the executive powers of a prime minister. Another thing that we sought to deal with was the issue of power transfer, the issue that the state could not regenerate, the issue that we had a president who had been in power for 34 years and seemed to want to go on forever. And connected to that, inextricably connected to that, was the issue of succession. It was clear that we had a succession battle, just like now. So to deal with these issues, we created the term of office provision, the limited terms of office provision. And if you ask me, what is the most important basic structure of this constitution? It is actually the provision limiting the term of office of the country's chief executive officer, the president. Because 5 years is a very small period of time in one's lifespan. And if we like you and we have to give you another term, 10 years is a very small period in time. What do time limits do? Time limits encourage accountability, because when you are elected in office, you know very soon that you will be a civilian. So you will restrain yourself. You will act with deference. You will act with deterrence, because one day you are powerful and the next day you are an ordinary wananchi walking in the streets of Harare or Bulawayo. Another thing to deal with the issue of transfer, we created the issue of the running mates, and we made 2 of them. So the issue of the unresolved succession issue was settled by creating a running mate to run with the president, to be elected by the president. Of course, this was unpopular in certain circles who saw a running mate as a second descender of power. But what they didn't know was that Zimbabweans were creating a new trajectory of certainty and stability. Because wherever you have succession uncertainty, succession ambiguity, you make inevitable and unavoidable conflict, including, as we saw in 2017, the implosion of a military coup. But our constitution was much more than all these things. There were other things that were dear to citizens, which are still important now. One of them, of course, is the issue of devolution. One of them is the issue of transparency and accountability around our financial resources, codified in sections such as 300 of the Constitution. One of them is the issue of the land question, codified in Chapter 16 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe. One of them are the principles of government that you find in Chapter 9 of the Constitution. One of them is the 4 pillars of the Constitution that include the Human Rights Commission, the Anti-Corruption Commission, the Gender Commission, the National Peace and Reconciliation Commission. These 50 state institutions were meant to create an additional checks and balance to the traditional tripod of power between parliament, executive, and the judiciary. So it was a modern progressive constitution. Now I come to the present threat. ZANU-PF does not have the unilateral right of seeking to amend a basic structure of the constitution, namely the term of office provision. And those of you who are familiar with our constitution, it's not just the president who had terms of office, judges had terms of office. Security sector big chiefs, they've got terms of office. There's a limited terms of office of the commander of the army, the commander of the intelligence, the commissioner general of the police, the commissioner general of prisons, and other. That typifies how we valued this, term office, and we said fine. In section 328, a term of office can be changed, but it can only be changed through a referendum. So firstly, 2/3 majority in parliament, and then through a referendum. But even if one were to succeed through this difficult task of a referendum, you'd require So that change, that constitutional change, would not serve the incumbent. So, in other words, we created a disincentive for an incumbent to push for a constitutional amendment that would not benefit him. We then said, if you want, if you're crazy enough and so driven, you hold an insatiable desire for power, you want it to benefit you, you have to go through another referendum. But this referendum and the first referendum cannot be held concurrently. So two separate referendum. That is the law. That is section 327, bracket 7 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe. Now, they are now trying to cook to create what I've called legal prostitutionalism, dubious legal arguments to deal with and to try and subvert the constitutional provisions that there are terms of office and that you can't avoid them except two referendums. There are three variants of this schism to cheat and facilitate a coup against the constitution of Zimbabwe. The first variant is what you have seen in a document called the Breaking Barriers Initiative. That document proposes that we amend Section 91 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe to allow the president to be elected by parliament and not directly by the people of Zimbabwe. The BBI proposal proposes that we extend the term of office of the current parliament to 2035, not 2030. So, according to the BBI, the next election will be held after 2035. According to this mendacious satanist proposal, the current president, Mr. Mnangagwa, will be deemed to have been elected in terms of the new constitution. And further, these amendments, the BBI amendments, must be implemented before the current president has served 3 years from August of 2023 when he was sworn in as president. The reason why the 3 years are important because our constitution is very clear in section 92 that a full term is 3 years and above. So they want to do this before he reaches 3 years so that they can pretend that he didn't serve any term to justify giving him a blank 5 years that gets you to 2030. Meaning that the proponents of the BBI would have wanted to see this constitutional amendment passed and actualized before December of 2025, when the president would have served 2 years and 3 months from August of 2023. Fortunately, it's no longer possible for that proposal because a constitutional bill has to lie in state for a minimum of 90 days, and we are nearing the year end, so that window is passed. The BBI proposal is dangerous because parliamentarians also fall into that category of people with term limits because the term of parliament is fixed in terms of section 143 of the constitution read together with section 158. It's a 5-year term calculated from the day that the president is sworn in to 30 days before the end of a full 5 years. In other words, if we had the election in August of 2023, then 5 years ends in August of 2028, and the election must be held on any day within the 30 days from 23 August 2028. That's the term of office of Parliament. So you would also need a referendum to extend the term of Parliament to either 2030 or to 2035. So it doesn't work. It's a with great respect, a horrible argument that cannot hold water. My biggest disappointment lies in one or two of the individuals associated with this process. I had so much respect for some of them. I shan't mention their names, but I think they've left our people down, which is why I always argue that we cannot trust individuals. and we should build institutions on the basis of trust, because you never know how an individual can turn up tomorrow. So that's the first option. The second option that they have, which I suspect is going to be pushed by the Minister of Justice, is just a simple amendment to the Constitution to simply extend, excuse me, the term of office of the President and Parliament to 2030, and then argue that we don't need, we've not extended terms, we've just extended time limits. There is a dubious argument that is now being made between a time limit and a term limit. The genesis of this distinction derives from a constitutional court judgment called Max Mupungu and others versus Minister of Justice and others, in respect of judges and the controversy around the Chief Justice, which Prince Duveko referred to. The Justice Patel and the majority of the Supreme Court made this distinct provision only in relation to judges between a time limit and a term limit. But that same judgment makes it clear that for everything else, including the president and commanders of the army, they can't avoid the process in Section 328 of the Constitution. So I find it something disturbing that people will actually rely on a judgment that actually deals effectively and defeats their own argument. The third strange option is the option coming from someone that I had so much respect for, and that is Mr. Tawanda Nyambirai. He has earned his respect, and we as Zimbabweans respected him. Mr. Nyambirai now suddenly says there's a lacunae, there's a gap in our constitution, that there is ambiguity about the definition of a term limit, that we don't know. The constitution is ambiguous about whether it's 5 years or 7 years. And to the extent that there's this lacunae or deficit, there's nothing that prevents Parliament from simply declaring that the term of office of the president is 7 years or 8 years without the need of a referendum. Now, this is downright dishonest, because the Constitution is very clear in Section 91, in Section 95, in Section 143, in Section 158 of what a term of Parliament is, what a term of the president is 5 years. Even Mr. Mnangagwa himself, in the interview that you, Gerald, referred to with Christine Amanpour, he recognizes that one is 1 5-year term, which can be extended if you are re-elected. So the total absolute period you can serve as head of state is 10 years. When citizens think this law, I think it's a disaster. You know, I'm a Christian, and for someone who purports to be a Christian to think this law, it's reflective of the corrosive effect of money and bribery that has sunk in to our economy. So these three submissions don't hold water at all, and I thought I would simply deal with them. So we saw the brutality of the police, the brutality of state agents, the burning of Sapes Trust, the destruction of Gilbert Mbwende's premises the day before yesterday, his house in Highfield. But I'm pleased that what I saw yesterday from the colleagues that we were playing hide and seek with the police yesterday, my brother Job Scala, Prince Duveko Sibanda, the comrades in Bulawayo, Senator Timba, Advocate Gumbo, Obed Masaraure, Jacob Ngaribvume, Munyaradzi Gwisai, and the thousands and thousands of people that I saw yesterday. I want to assure ZANU-PF, I want to assure Mr. Mnangagwa that Zimbabweans will not allow this, and it is regrettable that a man who was protected to protect the Constitution, a man who has a duty to protect the Constitution, is now abandoning and desecrating that Constitution. An institution, Parliament, elected to protect the Constitution, in terms of section 114, 116, 117, is now singing and twerking as they were doing shamelessly to defend that constitution. We, the ordinary Wanainji of this country, are prepared to pay the ultimate price with our own lives to defend this constitution. I thank you very much, Gerald McBelt.
Mm. Wow, thank you very much. Thank you very much, for that, for giving us, the three possible that you said, one of it is no longer because of, the time frame. But can I ask you on the argument presented in the BBI, or on the argument that speaks to a full term, somebody serving 3 years and above would have served, the full term, and this BBI was envisaged to come into effect. That proposal was being envisaged to come into effect by the 22nd of December, 2025. And now, with what you've said, that we've got a 90-day period that a bill needs to be consulted, on, brought to the public, etc. So if you're looking at that time frame, it is 2 years and 3 months, and on the understanding that a full term is 3 years and above, there is exactly about 9 months, period. Can they not try to push this Agenda 2030 via that route, which says the president, which says that he has not served, the full 3 years, and therefore they can, manipulate that and say whatever period that they would want, to then use to say that his second year now starts from maybe 7 months, down the line, from now to the 7 months, to the corresponding 7 months in 2030. Is that route still, possible, or you're saying that because of the time that is needed to go through everything that needs, to be done, that route is no longer, feasible for them?
Well, their holy grail is the year 2030. So
Yes.
that is what they have been pushing. So if they want Mnangagwa to be president until 2030 on the basis of the Nicodemus BBI submissions, then he has to be president from 1st of January 2025, meaning that the constitutional amendment would have been passed by December of 2025, in a few months' time. However, the BBI formula is still operative as long as they can try and push a bill before August of 2026. But it will no longer be 2030, it will now be 2031. But whatever formula that they want to use, whether the Nyambirai formula, whether the Ziambi formula, whether the BBI formula, an extension of time, the definition of term limit in section 328 simply means that any additional day from your original package of 5 years is deemed to be an extension. Therefore, you can't avoid the imperator of section 328. Therefore, you can't avoid double referendum. The first referendum to alter the term limit, the second referendum to have it benefit you. And as Prince has said, it's and as we keep on emphasizing, it's impossible to push this process. Zimbabweans will not allow this. They're totally against this, which is why anyone pushing this agenda is only pushing this country to an implosion, because you can't seek to push something that is impossible without expecting an impossible reaction in the form of an implosion. So the legal arguments which I've dealt with here are just an excuse of trying to do what they want to do. But the bottom line is that it is a constitutional coup d'etat, and we will not accept that. And thank God, the majority of war veterans, the majority of state institutions in this country, the majority of citizens in this country, overwhelmingly are totally and absolutely against this, obscene constitutional incest.
Right. Thank you very much, for that. I do appreciate. I want to move on to Honorable Job Scala. Honorable, are you able to speak now?
Uncle James, am I clear?
Yes, you are. Please go ahead.
No. Thank you very much for hosting us today to discuss this very important subject that is affecting all the citizens. Our commiserate sympathy to Professor Ibo
Right.
Mandaza.
Honorable Scala, we are struggling, to hear you. Yeah, we are struggling, to hear you. Can we go to Plan B? Honorable Scala? Right. I'm struggling to hear you, Honorable. So I'm going to Plan B, Honorable. Let's see, if this works.
Attacked almost same time around the early hours of the morning of the day, around 2, 3, 4 past.
Right. Let me remove you, Honorable Scala, because it's not working. But let me try, let me try this one more time, and then I'll see if it works. Right. Um, I'm trying to connect him, ladies and gentlemen, via WhatsApp now because he has been saying that his network is not stable. So let me see if I can connect with him via WhatsApp, and I'll bring him through via WhatsApp. Because as it stands, right now, it's going to be difficult to hear him speak because yes. Hello, Honorable Scala, how you doing?
Was I not audible?
No, you were not. You were breaking. So you are now live now, so you can continue with what you were saying.
Yeah, that's. Thank you very much, James, for opening up a more clearer audience. What I was saying is initially was that I was paying, sympathy to
Right. Hello, Honorable Skull. I'm struggling again. I'm struggling. It's not connecting, properly. I'm struggling again. It's not connecting, properly. Um, um, yeah, you're breaking. It wasn't connected, properly. So, can you try and speak now?
No, I'm hearing you very clearly. I don't know whether I'm being heard clearly over the other end.
It is now clear. So let's try this one more time. It is now clear.
Oh, it is now clear. I can go ahead.
Yes, please go ahead.
No, thank you very much, Uncle James. What I was saying is that I wanted to pay sympathies to Professor Ibo Mandaza for the terrorist attack that happened yesterday at Sapes Trust, the venue which was scheduled to host this most important presser yesterday. The terrorist attack was done on the same fashion which was done at my house on the 30th of August this year, when the same kind of terrorists came and bombed my house. And the trend of the bombing that happened at Professor Ibo Mandaza, the premises yesterday, are almost similar to what has happened to other people whose houses have been subject of terrorist bombing of recent past. So it shows that all those people whose houses have been bombed in the recent past, it points to the people who are currently in the system. So specifically, we sympathize with them. We condemn the act of terrorism that happened yesterday, and we hope all the citizens of this country will condemn the act that happened yesterday. Secondly, I would like to thank, the colleagues who are with us into this collective coalition, who have agreed to put their heads together and find the methods of how to deal with the entrenched tyranny in our country. It has never been envisaged, even by the enemy, that the opposition forces in our country will be able to coalesce together, come out with one single agenda to deal with the closure of political space in our country. Recently, you have seen the headlines which they were giving each other in their newspapers, that ZANU-PF was now claiming that they have completely managed to destroy any form of opposition against its rule in Zimbabwe. So the coming together of in our country from the civic society, labor, and those who are in informal sector, from churches, from all veterans, and across all citizens of our country to come together, it became a very huge challenge against them. They never expected that the people of Zimbabwe will be able to come together once more again for them to confront the beast that is destroying our country. So I would like to congratulate all our friends and colleagues who have managed to put aside the narrow differences people might have for us to concentrate and deal with the elephant in the room. So I thank the people of Zimbabwe for being able to come together to deal with the problems that we are facing as the nation. Then I am going further to thank the well articulated and systematic mutilation of our constitution that has happened since the rise of Emerson Mnangagwa to power, the presentation that was given by Honorable Prince Dube-Koswand, that it started likely, when he started to abolish the running mate clause in our constitution. Of course, many people who have been in the opposition at that time did not manage to realize the trick of the man, that he wanted to have absolute power of appointing and of arrogating himself the appointing and disappointing authority upon himself, so as to deal with issues of political quick. We let him get away with it. All of us, we must blame all of us, because we did not manage to realize that that was the beginning of a man who wanted to entrench absolute power into himself. After that came the period when he systematically destroyed the opposition in Zimbabwe by usurping the MDC alliance and dissolved it, and said that those who have contested on the ticket of the MDC alliance did not belong to that political party. They were all subject of the MDCT political party. This led to the destruction of
Right. Oh, come on now.
political equation and matrix in parliament. Those whom they suspected were were going to be against the majority of the decisions which Emerson Mnangagwa's regime was going to take in destroying and mutilating our constitution. We noticed that after the seizure of the MDC alliance, Emerson Mnangagwa brought again a wide range of constitutional amendments in the Parliament of Zimbabwe that included the extension of the terms of office of not only the Chief Justice, but all those judges who were sitting in the Constitutional Court. From the limitation of to 75 years. So the issue of the extension of office.
All right. Honorable Scala, Honorable Scala, yes, you are breaking now, and we can't make out what you are saying. Can you? I'm not sure whether you've moved from where you were in last 2 minutes ago, but we're struggling to hear.
No, that's where I am. That's where I am still.
All right. Okay.
Maybe these people are trying to disrupt my presentation.
Right.
Yeah,
you can continue now. You can continue now. Yeah.
Yeah. What I was saying is that the issue of the prolongation of the term of office or the extension of the term of office of the incumbent is not only beginning now with Emerson Mnangagwa's intention to extend his term to 2030. It started with the extension of the term of office of the current Chief Justice and also the judges of the Constitutional Court. Like what Honorable Prince Tuwekoswanda presented, the three-member High Court judges who presided over the application that was brought before it said that the Constitution is very beneficial of any form of extension of a term of office. And we all know what happened to those judges. Up until even Justice Mushure, Justice Mushure, now, after she obtained death threats and also impunity the protection of the constitutional provision. So having said that, they are victim. When the matter was later taken to the Constitutional Court, to the same judges who were going to be the beneficiaries of the extension of the term of the letter of an appeal by the Chief Justice and the Judicial Service Commission against the judgment of the High Court.
Right.
And authenticated.
Okay.
Yeah. You getting me?
Now we are struggling. You know what? I wanted to do justice, to your presentation, but what is happening is, you are breaking up so much that we can't even piece together, what you are saying. I'm not sure, how I can, make this work, anymore. But we are having, that challenge whereby at one point, you are coming out, clear, and then when you're about to be making, these important, points, then they are getting, muzzled up, and when you then go on to the next one, we would not have understood what you have said, previously. Which is, I'm not sure, how I can, resolve, that issue now, because I'm losing you at crucial, moments of your presentation.
But I'm hearing you very clearly here on my side.
Yes, but on my side, when it's coming through now, that is where the issue is. I do not know. Is it possible for you? I'll give you, another opportunity. Is it possible for you to, to package whatever remaining points, that you have into a summary, and then, like, the main points, that you want to put across. Let us try and do that, because I'm not hearing exactly, what you're saying because of this problem.
Let me change the position and see whether it might. Is it better now?
Somebody says that somebody says go on top of the roof.
Am I better now?
Yeah. Can you? Yeah. Let's try this one more
Am I
time.
clear now?
Yes, let's try this one more time.
Hello?
Yes, you are clear now.
Am I clear now?
Yes, you are. Please, go ahead.
Fantastic. I've changed the position.
Thank you.
What I was saying is that the issue of the extension of office did not start with Emerson Mnangagwa. It's a desire to extend his term of office to 2030. They've already tested victory after they managed to extend the term of office of the current Chief Justice from continuing to serve after having reached the age of 70 to 75. So that was the first bite of victory by the Emerson Mnangagwa regime. But all this, like what Honorable Dwekoswanda said, it was a choreographed script where they wanted to make sure that the desired aspirations of Emerson Mnangagwa to become a titular despot in the nation was going to be delivered, and it turned Zimbabwe into a monarchical and hereditary political system. Up to present, there are quite several number of many people who are still disputing in several jurisprudential debates whether is legitimately in office in accordance with the law, or it has been in accordance with politics. So, having tested that victory, Emerson Mnangagwa is now daring that he should be allowed to also extend his office to 2030. All the legalists and all other legal opinions that have been given by several lawyers in our country in opposition to 2030, correctly so, as such, are not only supported in terms of the provision of our own constitution, but also in terms of international. Our fight is not only supported in terms of our own constitution. Our own constitution, which was said to have quoted from international best practices on how the balance of democratic governance in Zimbabwe post 2008 terror, genocide, and impunity that happened. International law in terms of the African Union's Constitutive Act, Article 30 of the African Union Constitutive Act said no government or no regime shall be allowed to have an constitutive act in terms of Article 30. It says that those people who want to extend their terms of office, they call it the third term. They call is the third term African template of leaders who want to extend to get third terms. They are saying it is a coup against the people. Then secondly, they are talking about the amendment of the Constitution for the purpose of an extension of the term of office of an incumbent. They are saying it is a coup against who want to amend their constitutions for the purpose of having their
Right. Honorable Scholar.
over power from them after this unconstitutional change of government. Uncle Jess.
You are laboring. The way that it is coming out, it seems as if you're laboring. To speak. It is not coming out. Clearly. I think. I'm not sure now, but I think this is not working. For somehow this is not. Yeah. Because you are not clear. As much as I want you to be. I'm trying, to see how I can drag this on, but it is not working, properly. So I'm afraid I really wanted to hear you speak, but yeah, but at this juncture it is not working. I don't know what is going on. Previously I've never had a problem with you. Even when you come through via the space.
I used to have very
Yes,
clear presentations.
absolutely.
Yeah, let me see whether among my kids here there is somebody with an X account so that I might try to use theirs. So
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Let us try.
When I get him, then I'll tell you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah. Let us try because I really want to hear you. I really want to hear. Let us try that. As an option. Yeah. But in the meantime, on the podium, I still have Honorable Tendai Biti, Honorable Prince Dubeko, and President Jacob Ngarivume. My sister, is dropped. I'm not sure if there's still any other speakers who were lined up to speak, yesterday. If there's anyone in this space here uh, that want to come through and address us and speak to us. But whilst I'm waiting, for that, I wanted to ask Honorable Tendai Biti. I want to ask if it is possible that whilst I'm waiting for Honorable Jacob Scala to come through, if we can engage the audience, maybe take one or two questions. If there's anyone with a question, and you can be in a position to be responding, to those. So I'm speaking to Honorable Tendai Biti, Honorable Prince, Tobacco, and President Jacob, Karifume. Is this okay with you guys?
Yeah, it's okay with me.
Oh, thank you very much.
That is okay,
Okay,
Uncle Jez. That's
okay.
fine.
Right. Thank you very much. Right. So, guys, whilst I'm waiting, I'm hoping that Honorable Scala, will come through. But what we want to do, our time is now 18:21, and I've been told that this was going to be like a 4-hour show, and so what I want us to do, right now is I want to bring up 3 people at a time, and I want people that have got questions that they want to pose to our panel. And these questions, they have to do with the issues that we are speaking about today. This issue of the 23rd agenda and this issue of resistance from the citizens. I know there's a burning question out there where people are messaging me and saying, Kuti, Uncle, can you ask your panelist to then tell us what is the way forward? I think it's one of the questions that would want them to respond, to us. But I want people that have got questions that directly address or that directly speak to the issues that we are speaking to, today, and will give them the opportunity to respond. If you want a certain panelist to respond, you can direct that question to that panelist, or if you want that question to be responded by any one of them, you can also equally, say that. But amongst our panelists, if a question has been posed and you feel that you want to add on to the response that has been given by another panelist, it is still okay, to be doing that. So those are the ground rules, ladies and gentlemen. It is about what we have talked about, what has been presented, and so we want to limit, our questioning to be around, those issues. Any other questions that you might be having, I'm afraid we will not be entertaining them, and I and my co-host we retain the right to remove people that may want, to disturb, the process. But on that note, I'll just add, a few people, three people. Mofutaitas, you come through, you add another three people. But those that I'm adding, can I kindly ask you to just pose one question each? I want one question each. So it means each round we are going to be having three questions. So please just come, package whatever it is, or choose the question that you say this is the question that I need a response to, and then we work with that. So I'm going to be asking Simuka Zimbabwe. Simuka Zimbabwe, you said you needed 3 minutes. Can I allow you 2 minutes, and then please pose the question that you want to pose.
Yes, 2 minutes is
Please go
opportunity
ahead.
to speak to delegates. Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Please go ahead.
All right, thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, I present the GNZ, the youth. We are the youth. We have seen what has been happening in our country, and a lot of violation to the constitution is being done by the ruling party and the current government. And as we see you, our leaders, for the opposition to this kind of movement of 2030 agenda, which is particularly a scapegoat for re-election or for extension, term extension and holding power. We have seen all this happening, and we have a question. As the youth, we want instructions of what to do on daily basis with a certain objective of what we should do to go against this movement. We don't know the jargon of the constitution that are being violated, section 94. The many of the youth, we don't know that, but we need movement. We need to do something. And the few of us who can speak and who are ready to die for anything, we are there. But many of the youth, they are scared to do something. So as the leaders, you are knowledgeable about many things. Can you strategize on things that we have to do on daily basis? Thank you. Yes, I hand over my time. I'm done speaking. I request your response.
All right. Thanks for that. Sumuka Zimbabwe, hopefully our panelists have taken note of your question. Can we go to Ru?
Thank you. Thank you, Uncle Gerard, and thank you, Titus. Thank you to the opposition leaders that are coming today and sharing your insights. I have been waiting, personally, been waiting for this moment for a while. I think it is time that we all need to unite, put our differences aside, and actually think of a solution forward. Now, the question has already been posed in terms of, what is the way forward? But in line with that question, it would be good just to get some direction from you to understand, okay, if as oppositions you're coming aside, you're putting your differences aside, fine, 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 but what does this vehicle look like? Of course, I know that you're not always going to be able to share all the details, but I think that one of the things that we've been lacking the most is direction. So what does this vehicle look like? What mechanisms or things are you saying to people, or are you empowering people to say, if you have this, we need this, we need this, we need this to make this vehicle possible? And lastly, I would say, and obviously this is all the same question, but lastly, I would say, in this vehicle, how are you then ensuring that you are gathering those resources for every single Zimbabwean to participate? Because I think people want to participate, but how do we ensure that? So just to summarize, my question here is, you've come together, you've got this vehicle. What is the mechanism of this vehicle in terms of mobilizing individuals to take practical action after this space? Because this is an immediate situation, and I appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much, for that. I do appreciate. I hope you've gotten the question. Our last speaker is for this one is Tulani Musetsa. Please, if you can ask your question.
All right. Thank you, Uncle Jed. I hope you can all hear me clearly.
Yes, you
All
are
right.
clear. Please go ahead.
All right. So, my question is going to be directed kuna Koma Prince Nana Koma Tendai. My question is, kuna zvakaitika yesterday. We all saw what happened yesterday, and when I saw the first time Bamka poster Mushiti we were going to have a presser, the instinct was obviously each a disruptor. We have seen this happening for job scala, book launches. We know this sort of behavior happens, and my question is, why is there no better way of organizing, even kutongotsvaga wenyu security yedu kune mutemo here which prevents these sort of pressures from happening? And if we know for certain kuti nzvimbo zvichapiswa, or we are just going to attract the wrong attention, why is it there are no measures that are taken to make sure that zvinhu zvakaita semapressures are just a success? We know kuti handizi hatigoni kuapply that. What is the process? Why is it we keep falling into the same cycle of which we are surprised kuti kwauya vakomana vezanu, kwauya vakomana musangano, they want to disrupt? But I think it should be our constitutional right kuti muite mapresa, pakutonga achida kuita mapresa, to speak to the people. I think that's a right that should be protected by the constitution. That is just my 2 cents, and some that I want to understand. Kuti murikuita say kuti the next time that you want to speak to the people, how are you going to stop this? Why do we keep falling into the same cycle of at this table, we're so surprised? That's my contribution. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Over to you, our esteemed panelists. You can respond to some of these questions. So those that have asked, I'm removing you, and then after that, Honorable Job Sigala is going to be coming through and addressing us. So over to you, Honorable Tendai Biti.
Yeah, well, we have a member who is going to speak on the way forward. So I shan't speak on that. Safe to simply say that the way forward is that we continue the fight based on our unit, the unit of every Zimbabwean. This is not a political party issue. This is not an individual issue. It's an issue for all Zimbabweans. So the onus is on all of us. But as far as anything else beyond, I'll leave it to the person assigned to do that. I want to deal with the last question. There is no law in Zimbabwe that says you need permission from anyone to have a press conference. more so when you are having that press conference at someone's private home or institution. SAPES is a private university where we went to have the alternative venue is the law firm of advocate agency Gumbo. We don't need any police permission. We don't need to notify anyone. The Bulawayo Club, where the Bulawayo comrades were supposed to have there, is also a private club of gentlemen in Bulawayo, whose right of admission is reserved. So we are now being forced to anticipate madness when these are just normal things. These are just normal things. Who would have thought that they would actually bomb premises and homes just for a mere press conference? This was not a march. This was not a demonstration. So the point of the matter is that you cannot budget for fascism. You cannot budget for authoritarianism. You can anticipate that they will arrest you and so forth, but you, with ZANU-PF, budget for the abnormal. They can do anything. But if you are going to budget for the abnormal, the danger is that you might actually be paralyzed from inaction. You might actually be arrested for inaction. By arrested, I mean you yourself might actually put yourself in a corner. It's called the chilling effect. You create a situation where citizens can't breathe, citizens can't move. So one of the things that we did yesterday by confronting the police, by going back to SAPES yesterday, was basically to show them that we are not afraid of you. We can confront of you, confront them. These things are going to increase. They're going to kill people. They've killed people before. Look at what they did on the 1st of August 2018. Look at what they did on the 19th of January 2019. For Christ's sake, look at what they did during Gukura Wundi when 30,000 people were were killed. But I don't think that we can we can basically say we can anticipate every challenge. We can't. Two, I don't think we can freeze in our tracks and allow fascism to continue. So we'll continue speaking. There are now new methods of technologies allowing us to have new methods of communicating our people. And I also hope that comrades in the diaspora will replicate the same, efforts. Where there's a will, there's always a way. We are the victims, and so we can't be blamed for anticipating or failing to anticipate that they will bomb Dr. Mandaza Sapes or Gilbert Mbuyende's home. But there's a limit to which the regime can do these things, and will continue exposing the same. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. Over to you, Jacob Ngaruvume. Yeah, do you have any thing you want to say in response to any one of those questions?
Thank you, my brother. Two quick things. The first is that I want to inform you that one of the panelists we had yesterday from the church, Dr. Gomo, is also supposed to be a panelist on this platform now. He has sent you his request to be speaker. I think just check for him, please. He's from the church, specifically Zimbabwe Divine Destiny. Yeah, so just check for him to be speaker. Then secondly,
if they can, if they can send me a message, because I'm looking at my messages, I'm not seeing anyone. But if they can send me a message, and then I can be in a position to spot, their handle. Thank you very much, for that.
Okay, fine. I hope he will. Then the second thing I want to say is that in terms of the way forward, it will be articulated by Comrade Munyaradzi Gwisai, who is also speaker tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Then, in terms of what we do to deal with the dictatorship as far as muzzling, our freedoms is concerned, I think we have just done that. After they bombed SAPES Trust, we went back to SAPES Trust to hold the press conference there. We insisted. They continued to block us. And what did we do? We went to one of our legal practitioners, and then we held part of the press conference at that place, and we got the message out before they disrupted again. And after that, we went back to Sapers Trust. I think that shows determination. That shows determination. And today, we are holding this X space to make sure that we express ourselves in the points that we wanted. So the point really is, we will not be driven by fear. Neither would we want our young people to be made afraid to confront the dictatorship. I think it's all up to us, the people of Zimbabwe, to step forward and say, enough is enough, this is wrong, and we will resist it. I think this is what we should expect. You know, they are determined, the regime is determined to make sure that the message of opposing the 2030 nonsense does not go out. But we are determined. We are prepared to risk everything to make sure that the message goes out, and sooner it will be time for action, and we will be part of the citizens and will lead from the front as your leaders to make sure that whatsoever we agree on, even that way forward must come from the people. There are going to be consultations, and whatever you decide that we do, we will do it with you, leading you from the front. We will never forsake you, and we will never be at the back of the firing line. We'll be right in the front of it. So that is our assurance as your leaders, that we are prepared to go all the way until we stop this nonsense. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Honorable Tobacco, is there anything that you want to say?
Not much, Uncle Bates.
Right.
Safe to say that, I think all questions that have been asked
Have been answered.
have been answered, yes.
Right. Okay, thank you very much. I want to go to Honorable Scala. You have come through with another handle. Can you hear me now? Honorable Scala?
No, you are now very clear. I'm using my daughter's account. You know, she didn't upload it. She's using a new budget, so she was trying to upload that one written Mona Lisa Scala.
All right. Yeah, you must, next day, I want to, after this, we want lessons. Mona Lisa must do, or she can give you even a ghost account that you can come with. I'm just joking. But,
I don't do ghost accounts. It's for the
you don't
cowards.
do the ghost account.
I'm not a coward. I confront you if I've got an issue with you.
I know, I'm just joking. But, in the previous one, there's a point that you are about to raise. The point of the African Union. Can you start us from there?
No, thank you very much, Uncle Jeds. I wanted to say that our this fight against the extension of the term of office, what they describe in terms of Article 30 of the African Union Constitutive Act as prolongation of office, prolongation of term of office, is a criminal act that has been described in terms of the African Union Constitutive Act and also the Lome Declaration as the unconstitutional change of government. So what Mnangagwa is and his pro 2030 agencies are trying to do is they are trying to do a coup against our own people. The African Union Constitutive Act has protected citizens of states by mentioning where regimes would be rendered to have committed an unconstitutional change of government when they prolong their term of office through constitutional amendments for them to remain in power. This came as a result after a number of many African dictators and despots wanted to extend their terms of office via a third term constitutional amendment, which even leaders like Olusegun Obasanjo of Nigeria tried Yoweri Museveni of Uganda successfully did it. Paul Kagame of Rwanda did the same, and so many other African heads of state, including the late Sam Nujoma in Namibia. So it is criminalized both in terms of international law. So when we are resisting the 23rd, we are not only standing on the citadel of our own national constitution, we are also informed by international conventions and covenants, which Zimbabwe is party to. Zimbabwe is party to the African Union, and the Constitutive Act of the African Union governs the way how we should conduct our political business in Zimbabwe. So Mnangagwa is fighting against the national constitution on the domestic front, and on the international front is also fighting against the provision of the African Union Constitutive Act. It also, clearly spells out that leaders who want to prolong their terms of office through constitutional amendments of their domestic constitutions to extend their terms of office is a criminal act of an unconstitutional change of government, which is a coup against its own people. So people must be informed clearly that Mnangagwa is trying to coup us for him to remain in power. He will not be supported by the constitution of our own country as enunciated by Honorable Tendai Biti, and also as clearly spelled out by Honorable Duleko Swand, that the systematic mutilation of our constitution since his rise to power in 1917, some of the things that we took as if it's a joke, and some members even from whom we anticipated from the opposite, whom we anticipated to be opposition, supported the extension and prolongation of the term of office of the current Chief Justice and the Constitutional Court judges. So having said that, the people of Zimbabwe must not be afraid that the resistance to the 2030 agenda is a hollow political grandstanding. It is a lawful act supported in terms of our own domestic national constitution and also in terms of international law, as elucidated in the African Union Constitutive Act, Article 30. So as long as we know that what we are doing is the support of the congruent constitutional and jurisprudential issues, we must not hesitate for us to put our lives on the block. We are prepared to put our lives on the block on the basis that we know we are right. And as long as we are fighting on the side of right, we are not ashamed. We are talking about ourselves being under surveillance 24/7. We don't have any freedom for us to go even anywhere in public places. They are always trailing us on a daily basis. The kind of lives that we are living back home here, we are prisoners who are walking as if we are free, while we are not. And one of us, even today, when I was coming from town to Chitungwiza with Jacob Ngarume today in the morning, we were using Jacob Ngarume's car. They were following us right until he dropped me at my house in St. Mary's here. We wonder for what purpose. But the issue with the underestimating is our determination to make sure that we know that our fight is on the right side of history. Like what Honorable Prince Duleko Swanda said. Ladies and gentlemen who are listening here, listen very carefully. We are prepared to die for this. It will be recorded in history that one day men and women who were prepared to defend their nation were prepared to put their lives to death against a tyranny who was obsessed with power. We are prepared to meet any consequences for defending what is right. This thing will not benefit us. It will benefit every Zimbabwean and generations to come. And we are on the right side of history. On why the opposition should not have defense mechanisms for itself, having known historically on how they are applying all the debt methods like disruption of even book launches and so forth. And having in the instincts of Tulani, it tells us that he knew that the moment we announced the holding of that press conference, disruption was coming on our way. That is exactly what they are looking against us. They are trying by all means to concoct lies and also fictitious cases against us. So that all of us, I think at the present moment, they are cooking something to say all those people who participated in the anti-threat agenda, those who were on the list of Harare press speakers and all those who were on the list of Ulawai, they are currently cooking cases against them to throw them into prison. And they suffer a long time of pre-trial incarceration. This is a result that we made when we initially decided to coalesce and come together as democratic forces in this country. That whatever comes our way, we are going to accept it and say, please bring it on. We are prepared for any eventuality. I thank you, host Uncle Jeds.
Wow, thank you very much, for that, Honorable Scholar. Stay there, and can I kindly request Mona Lisa to not, remove you from, or to not take a phone away from you, because we want you to be part and parcel of our panel in response to the questions, that are coming. Our time, ladies and gentlemen, is 18:49. I've seen Senator Jameson Timber in there. I've sent you a request, Senator Jason Timber. If you can respond to that request, I'll give you the opportunity to say something on this platform. On President Jacob Garifume, you have said there's a church leader who wants to be part and parcel of this conversation. If you can, repeat, their name again or their handle, so that I can search for them and send them, the request, and I'll bring them on, as a speaker. If you can do that, please, that would be very much appreciated. I've tried, sending a message, via your DM, but makasunga president vurai DM president. But anyway, yeah, if you can let me know the name of the church, representative, and then I'll bring them on, and would like to hear them. All right. Senator Jameson Timber, how are you? Senator Timber, you can unmute. Right. I'm not sure what is going on, right there. Senator Jameson Timber, can you hear me? Is he speaking, ladies and gentlemen? Honorable Scholar, can you hear Senator Timber speaking?
No, I'm not hearing him. I'm not hearing
Okay.
him.
Yeah, so
Yes.
it means there's something wrong, with his mic. Senator Timber, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove you, and then I will resend, that request. I'm removing you now, but I'm resending the request, and if you can accept it, please. I'm sending you the invite, right now. Let me see if I can get to you. Right. They I've sent you the invite. I've sent you another invite. So if you can, respond, to that. Whilst we are waiting for Senator Timber, to come through, and the church representative to come through. Movitadas, you can select the next three. Okay, so you can select the next three. Whilst you're doing that, let me see if Senator gentleman Timber can hear me. Senator, can you hear me? Right. There must be. I think there's something wrong, with the. Right. Senator Timber, can you hear me? He's not speaking, right?
Yeah, his mic is unmuted, but he's not. There's no sound coming out.
Oh. Right. Let me see if I can do this. Senator Timber, if you can check your messages. Check your messages, and then we'll try the plan B. Right. uh, Senator Timber, check your messages. If you can respond to my message, and then let me see if I can try, calling you, and let's see if if it works. Like what I tried to do with Honorable Job Scala, it works, but it's only that with Honorable Scala, there must have been something going on, with his network. Right. Okay. Let me over to you, Movutators, if you can introduce the next set of speakers. Only three. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, it's one question.
Right. Okay, so the next questions will be coming from Advocate Herbert, Owen Chari, and Mafia. So I start with you, Herbert.
Okay, thank you so much, Titus, and greetings to the revolutionary cadres. I salute you so much, and I thank you for giving hope again to Zimbabweans, because I feel that there was a gap now which was there that needed to be filled, and I think you came on a timely position for all Zimbabweans. What I wanted to pose, especially to Advocate Tendai Biti, but others might take it, is that I'm sure that what you are contesting is what is emanating from resolution number 1, which was adopted from 2024, and then also which was confirmed again in the ZANU-PF conference this year. But then I just wanted to speed up to resolution number 2, which shows that ZANU-PF wants to have a situation whereby the political party is supreme to the government. And I feel that I think it is you who said, or it is Honorable Job Scala who said, we're sleeping on the issue of the attempt to shred the constitution when the running mate, running mate clause was removed. Don't you think that we might also be sleeping on the issue of ZANU-PF's move to a one-party state, whereby political parties can be banned, whereby they move to the 2030 agenda, ban elections, and then perhaps also implement the one-party state system? What do you think of resolution number 2 in relation to the resolution number 1? And what can be done actually to stop ZANU-PF implementing the one-party system in Zimbabwe? Thank you so much.
Right. Thanks, Advocate Herbert, for that. I'm sure Honorable BT has taken note of that. Can I go to Owen Chari?
Thank you, Moftatus. I want to salute all the panelists. All of them have been tried and tested. I know them personally, most of them. I know Senators Timber, Jameson Timber. I know Honorable Scala. I know Honorable Tendai Biti. I've been with them in the trenches personally. I know them. And I have faith with them. I know Honorable Prince Tumeko Sibanda. So, since I'm one of the Zimbabweans who have my trust on them, I have certain questions that I need them to address.
Can you try
Number
and package
one,
it into...
I'm going there. I'm off status. I mean, I'm
No,
preparing
I mean, if we
myself.
can try and make it
prepared.
one question.
Yeah, it is. it is one question. As Zimbabweans, we've been disempowered. ZANU-PF has disempowered us, and they're trying to make a coup on us. So what is the position that us as citizens can disempower the parliamentarians that we send to parliament, and later they were stolen from us? Because maybe ZANU-PF is going to use those MPs who, if they do that, will not be saving us. What can citizens do to stop them from becoming a tool against us? That's number one. What can citizens do to stop Mnangagwa from becoming a kingdom? Because he's preparing to come up with a kingdom. We heard of rumors of Monomtapa, whatever. What can we do as citizens? What is the way forward that we can do? Lawyers and legal expertise are going to do their part. But this fight, you cannot do it alone. You need us as citizens. Give us a position as citizens because we want to be part of you guys to fight this. If you are going to lose your life, we want to lose our lives together with you, not only Honorable Job Scala, Honorable Tendai Biti, Senator Jameson Timber. No, we want to be part of that. So you have to come up with a vehicle that encompasses us so that when people start losing lives, we will lose lives together, not individuals. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Nkoma Owenchari, for that question. Can I go to Mafia 99, please? Darlington.
I'm sure Murgundinzwa.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I just have a question to these guys. But before I ask them, first and foremost, I would like to applaud them. I would like to thank them for showing the guts, for being men among men. Thank you very much, guys. As things were back then, things were no longer okay in the opposition camp. Mnangagwa made sure that the opposition will be dead and buried. But I just want to applaud these guys for what they did yesterday. Thank you very much. My question is about what's next? What's next from here? What's next? What's next? What's next? We must go to the citizens and teach them. But what is the roadmap? What is the plan? Thank you very much, Uncle Jets. Hopefully, Mandinzwa.
All right. No, you were
Right.
loud and clear.
Yeah, Mofu, before, they come in, on the question of the way forward, Honorable Tendai Biti was clear to say that there is someone who's coming through to respond to that. I understand it's Myeraz Gwisai who will be coming through to respond, to that. So, folks, with that question, can I suggest that, you don't pause the question anymore, because we are going to have a panelist who's coming through to address specifically on the way forward. So Mafia 99, again and again, thank you very much, for that. But your question will not be responded to at this juncture.
All
All right.
right.
Thank you, guys. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, no problem. So
Or
I
you can
think
leave
if
them, to respond, to the other question. Yeah.
yeah, so I think the first one was to you, Honorable Tendai Biti, on the resolution number 2 from Advocate.
Well, thank you very much. Well, look, ZANU-PF has always the democracy as an inconvenience. They've always regarded democracy is an alien process. They operate on the basis that we are the liberation movement. We liberated you, so we own you because we died for you. We sacrificed by going to Mozambique, to Tanzania, and to Zambia. So throughout the 45, 46 years of their existence, it has always been about them and about the liberation movement, and not necessarily government. Government is, and every other state institution has totally been emasculated over the years. They will deal with you physically through violence. They'll bribe you. They will coerce you. So it's coercion, it's corruption, it's capture. And so if you look throughout, it has always been about power. Gukura Hundi was about the decimation of Joshua Ngomo and Zapo. The struggles we went through with Morgan Tsvangirai in the MDC, being arrested, people being killed. You remember what happened in 2008. And now the creation of fandoms like Chabang to continue destroying the opposition. So resolution number 2 is probably the most insidious of their resolutions in Mutari, because it basically says what the party says goes. But that can't possibly be, because the constitution that we are seeking to protect says in section 2, and it is the supreme law of the country. It is the supreme law of the country. And anything that is inconsistent with the same, any law, conduct, practice, or custom that is inconsistent with the same is invalid. So a universitas, an ordinary body like ZANU-PF, can't purport to override a constitution that creates a government, an executive that is accountable to parliament and the people of Zimbabwe. So that resolution reconfirms what is in their mindset, and it's consistent with the what they've written in the BBI document: suspend elections until 2035. And one of the most dangerous things that people are not seeing is that 2030 is just a ruse. Because if they can get away with 2030, if by some reason they can legally and extra legally push Emerson Mnangagwa's rule to 2030, on what other principle can stop them from pushing Mnangagwa's term to 2040 to 2060? So this is why I say this is the biggest existential threat we face as a nation state. This is about our own dignity, about our own independence, about our own sovereignty as a people. It's a total reversal of the liberation struggle, because the liberation struggle was fought on the basis of democracy. It was fought on the basis of one man, one vote. So ZANU-PF is saying one man, one vote, one woman, one vote doesn't matter. What matters is what happens in the Politburo Bureau of the Sheikh building, which is why all hands must be on deck, and we must resist this heinous sobriquet called the Constitutional 2030 Agenda.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Honorable Tendai Biti. Then I think the next question was from Owen. I don't know if anyone wants to take it. Owen touched on the how you can include my citizens as well. And now Owen to So anyone on the panelists wants to take Owen's?
No, thank you, Titus. I can come to that one. The problem we have had with our constitution in terms of Section 129K is that it empowered and to have the power of recall. Citizens have been thrown on the periphery, where they will not have much say whether that member of parliament who is going to be recalled, they still like him or not, or whether they still like their member of parliament or not. So the whole matrix of where do we locate the citizens of our country in terms of the deployment of those people whom they want to be their representatives in the legislature is peripheral. Political parties are the ones that have been empowered by our constitution to say today we are going to recall Tendai Biti. Today we are going to call Munyaradzi Bisai. Today we are going to recall Senator Jameson Timber. Jameson Timber was not recalled by the people who have voted him to be the senator in Harare. He was voted by a masquerade who came and hijacked and purported himself to be the representative of an institution called the political party called CCCC. So it's a question that we need to deal with it. And people, some old legal gurus like Nkoma Tendai Biti will tell you that the recall section was inserted in our constitution in the 1987 constitutional amendment on the old Lancaster House Constitution. It was when ZANU-PF wanted to empower itself to recall Edgar Tekere after his vociferous exposure of corruption in parliament and being an outspoken critic of the Willowgate scandal, that they later had to insert a section in the constitution authorizing political institutions to recall the people who have been elected into office. And their argument is that those in parliament are deployees of a political party. They are not there through their own personal merit. So the political party that has sponsored them to be in parliament is the only one that has the right of recall. So citizens are at the periphery in as far as our constitution, section 129, subsection K is concerned. So that's where we have the lacuna in our own law, which should allow and empower citizens for them to make determination whether they still want their member of parliament to continue representing them or not. Just for example, there was a huge debate today on the social media, especially on the X. We have seen people like Lynn Stancia who are listening here, saying that members of parliament have been opposition members of parliament have been singing that 2013 they are Munangagwa. And would you really think that those people who have elected those opposition members of parliament to be in parliament would be in agreement with them to sing that song in parliament? So that's where we have got the lacuna in terms of our constitution and in terms of our laws on where we should locate the power of the citizens. So citizens, as it stands now, do not have any power in as far as the provision of the constitution is concerned. I thank you. That is others. I leave it to my other colleagues.
Right. Thank you very much for that. Honorable Prince, do you have anything here to say?
Is there anything, Uncle Jet, that my colleagues have left out? Maybe that someone might want me to deal with.
No,
But I
I
think
mean, it's up to you really. But what Honorable Biti has said, I thought that was comprehensive, and the additive from Honorable Sikala, done justice to some of those questions. So I was just wondering if you've got
I'm
anything
quite
as well.
sure. I'm quite sure the major question has been about way forward. That's a big
Yes,
question
yeah.
that you are.
Yes, that one
And
we are going to be dealing with it, very soon. So, if I can have, I'm still trying to locate Honorable Munyaraz Gwisai. If I can, because I want to bring him, up. Our time is now 1911, and I'm cognizant of the fact that we have to end this at the top of the hour. So, what I want to do, right now is I want to bring in if the next set of questions, but I want us to have the last 30 minutes being set aside for that conversation. The conversation on the way forward. So I'm looking forward to hearing from Senator Jason Timber as well. I want him to add, his voice. But in the meantime, we just get, a few more questions. But if you can help me, Honorable Scala, with Munyara's Gwisai's handle, or if you can inbox me, or if you can follow me, inbox me, so that, I can, because I'm not sure, Hendo Yawo kuti and then I'll take it, from there. So in the meantime, I'll add, three people that I want to be contributors of the next set of questions, and then I'll move on. But in the meantime, in the background, I want to work on bringing in Nyara Zubisai onto the platform, and hopefully, Senator Jameson Timber, I've sent you a message, TM. If we can't get you to speak, I'm wondering if I can get you on, on WhatsApp, so that we can have you to say something. It will be very much, important, and that we get, um since you are here. It will be very much important that, we get. But if we can't, then we'll leave it, for another day. But anyway, the next set on Gab, Dr. Moses, and Fungai. Can we go with that order, please? Your question, one question, each, and then I'll get, the panelist to respond to the questions. Thank you very much, guys, and over to you.
Right, thank you very much. Good evening to everyone around listening. I have a question for Honorable Tendai Biti, and I see that he has dropped, but I'll just ask it anyway. So I've been thinking about this 2030 agenda, and yes, from a constitutional and political perspective, it's something that we really need to fight. But for us to be able to mobilize people to understand, because there are some other people who just say, it's just 2 years. And that's why it doesn't make sense. Why would Mnangagwa want 2 years? And which is why I'm trying to get Honorable Biti's perspective from somebody who was in the Ministry of Finance. How governments are financed by people from outside the government, and how they can capture the executive and have sway. Is there any chance, or is it any necessary for us to investigate if there are any loans or contracts or debts that are meant to be paid by 2030, such that whoever has the executive in their pocket are insisting on them staying in power? Because honestly speaking, if Mnangagwa really wanted to be in power, he should be fighting for a life presidency. You're better off trying to fight that and banning the constitution so that you can get that, so that nobody removes you. But these 2 years, there is something that we are probably not paying attention to. And I just wanted to find out from the minister if there is anything, probably, because we have seen the people that are around him, but they are all about the money. We have heard about the corruption, people stealing billions and billions. Is there something that probably the Reserve Bank owes, or some bonds that are meant to have been paid, to be paid by a certain time, that they are pushing for those 2 years specifically, so that they can achieve and get whatever they want to get? And also, in the projects that we have seen that have been said to be financed by people with a certain interest rate, are there any projects that are starting anew? Because I don't see anything that has started anyway. So it's like as if they just want to get as much as they can get, and somehow this 2030 might make sense. I'm just trying to think like a corrupt politician. I've never been one, but honestly, looking at 2030, just asking to ban a constitution for 2 years, it doesn't make sense. Is there something? Am I onto something, or I'm just crazy? It will be easy to dismiss. I hope I'm not out of order.
Right. I hope that the craziness, that possessed you will not follow you into the future. But anyway, no problem. Tezara. Tendai
The
Biti is
potential is
still
there. The potential is there.
Honorable Tendai Biti, is still with us. I'm just waiting for you, to come up, and hopefully, you can respond, to that question. But can I go to Dr. Moses? Dr. Moses, please take the mic.
Thank you, Ango Jet. Thank you, Titus.
Thank you, the honorables, for taking your time to, share your views here with us. I think I've been, on the one hand, pessimistic in terms of fighting the 2030 agenda, given the current state of our opposition. But I'm also optimistic that this could be a rallying point, a galvanizing force to, bring the opposition together. So maybe that will be answered in the way forward thing. But my question is that the 2030 agenda must be fought and stopped by all means necessary. But as we fight to stop this 2030 agenda, we are not hearing about electoral reforms. For me, electoral reforms are as important as also fighting the 2030 agenda, because even if we manage to stop the 2030 agenda, and then ZANU-PF fuse another presidential candidate in 2028, the truth is that we are going to have a contested electoral outcome again. So without a free and fair election, which is the problem that we have in Zimbabwe, then we are not going to solve our problem. So my question is that I don't know, are we not going to fall in the danger of putting all the attention on fighting the 2030 agenda and neglect the question of electoral reforms, and then go into an election which will be contested? For me, that's a very important question that we need to look at. So yeah, that's my question. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much. I hope our remaining panelists will do justice to that question. Can I bring in Fungai? Mkoma Fungai, how you doing? Really say, please take the mic.
Thank you, Nkoma Jedza. I hope I find you well. Mine is a very quick suggestion. I wanted to quickly appeal to the leaders of the movement currently to please come up with very short and clear notes on what is currently happening, like what Tendai Biti was putting across, so that it can easily be shared across the nation and people can get a clearer picture of what is happening. All the information that has been presented, some of it has been fairly new to me, especially on the African Parliament, African Union that was coming from Sikala. So it's information that we need our citizens to know as we begin this very important fight. My second suggestion would be to ask the ordinary citizens. We are the bulk of the fight. The gentlemen here are leading, they are the spear, the tip of the spear, but we are the bulk of the fight. And there are so few of us. I am recommending that try and talk to at least 3 people per day, that you bring across the issues that are now important to us, especially vis-a-vis the 2030 agenda. Why it's bad and stuff like that. We really need to communicate. I've been doing it with people that I meet almost on a daily basis. And people, most of the time, they get shocked to say, this is how bad it can get. Like what was indicated earlier, that fighting for 2 years doesn't really make sense. They are not fighting for those 2 years. It's just a barometer. They will go again for 2035 and stuff like that. So we need to be explaining to our people. Those are my suggestions.
All right, thank you very much. I hope they've taken note of those suggestions. But for those that have inquired their questions, can I ask our panelists if they can respond? My sister Slenkosi Moyo, you said you wanted to respond to my brother Owen. I'll give you that opportunity. But can I just get responses to the question that has been posed by ONGAB? And the other speaker, who is Dr. Moses, on the issue of electoral reforms. Right. I don't know who wants to tackle that one. I still have Honorable Sikala, Honorable Tobacco. Selengos Moyo, I know you're still there. If you want to touch that one as well, you can be these questions, you can be in a position to do so. So yeah, can we have the responses, please?
Maybe, Uncle Jen, let me attempt to to deal
Can
with
you
the
hear me?
question of
Oh.
Yeah,
electoral
can you hold
reform.
on, my sister? Can you hold on? Right. Honorable Prince, you can go ahead.
Yes, let me attempt to deal with the question of electoral reforms vis-a-vis what we are currently facing. It is like being put in a situation where you are supposed to choose one as an emergency, as a lifesaver, and the other is something that can be dealt with later. And why later? Later because we can be able to survive with that problem. At least we can buy more days. ZANU-PF can be beaten under the current electoral framework. Let's not tell each other lies and this and that. ZANU-PF can be beaten hands down in the current electoral framework. There are certain things that we also need to do and tighten up as an opposition, because this is a power game. Don't approach a power game as if you are going for a jelly game or some kind of thing. So, what is most urgent to me, in my view, is this 2030 agenda. Because you see, the problem is that it brings with it the danger of taking away the elections. So what electoral reforms would you want to do when there are no elections? Let's deal with elections being there and being respected. Then maybe we can talk about electoral reforms. But if we don't have time to talk about electoral reforms after having secured the elections, then we can organize ourselves to do. I mean, look, Uncle Jed, ZANU-PF is politically a damaged goods. It's just a matter of how we package ourselves and offer something better to the people. It's possible. It's doable. That's my response to that question.
Right. Thank you very much. Honorable Scala, do you have anything to say? Respond to the question that have been raised?
But yeah, no, just briefly, Zimbabwe has been involved in elections since 1980. The MDC has been winning elections left, right, and center. Even Mugabe admitted in 2008 that he was defeated by Morgan Shankrai, hands down. So the problem in our country is not about elections, it's about the system. ZANU-PF uses murder, assassination of political opponents, violence, terror as instruments of political organization. Those are not issues of electoral reforms. Those are issues of political thought. This is the orientation to which ZANU-PF is accustomed to. That for them to remain in power, they need to kill people. That for them to win elections, they need to burn people's homes, bomb them, and cow them into submission and unleash terror and fear, and then harvest from the fear among the people. So electoral reforms is not an issue at all. The issue is about to change the entire political system of ZANUism in Zimbabwe. ZANU-PF will not win any election, even against you, Uncle Jez. If you and some participants in this space become candidates against any ZANU-PF candidate anyway, in a free and fair election, you beat them hands down any day. So ZANU-PF, even if you give them the Bible as as the book of political reform. They will not change. They will still kill the people. So the question now arises, are elections a solution to the challenges that the people of Zimbabwe face at the present moment? I believe not. I believe there is need of serious political consciousness among the citizens of our country. Restore people power. Restore the people to chart the destiny of their own country. You can just imagine dictators think that they are invincible. And so many did believe so in time immemorial in the history of mankind in the past. We saw even the Soviet Union didn't want to reform, but when Boris Yeltsin and others rose in 1992, being the most armed nuclear arsenal holder in the world, when people power came, they crumbled. So the same to Nicolae Ceausescu. Today, as we are speaking, the people of Tanzania are reclaiming back their power against a one-man race like the one that Mugabe had in 2008 during the period of runoff. So we need a political conscious citizenry in Zimbabwe. That is the reform that I want. I don't want political reforms because even ZANU-PF, if you give them the Bible, they will continuously kill you. They will continuously beat you into submission. They will ask you to confess being illiterate when you are a university graduate, that you are not able to vote. The teachers in the rural and on the countryside have been forced to vote and proclaimed to be illiterate. When we all know that they are literate and they can read and write and vote for themselves. We have seen how headmen and also crawlers have been used for them to drive people into polling stations, but they are now being frightened that there is a camera that will see where you have voted. And people have been taken into polling stations like cattle getting into a deep tank. That will not help our country. As long as we don't have the masses of our people who are political conscious, who know their responsibility, who know that even if death comes, it will come for the good of the future of our unborn grandchildren. That is what I believe in. I don't believe in those electoral reforms and so forth. Morgan Tsvangirai beat Mugabe in 2008. Hands down. When there were no when the electoral system was worse before these people brought us the 2013 constitution. So ZANU-PF can still be defeated in any election, like what I told you, Uncle Jets. You can run against ZANU-PF yourself, leading an organization, and all the people listening to this space today here contesting against ZANU-PF candidates and defeat them. But our citizens are not able to reclaim their position. So we have got a lot of work for us to make sure that we do as much political consciousness, serious political education to make our citizens aware of their responsibility to shape the destiny of our country. The destiny of our country won't be shaped by electoral or by electoral reforms. It will be shaped by a reformed citizenry that will be able to take the destiny of our country to where it should be. This is what I wanted to respond to that question. In addition to what Honorable Madueko said, coming to Honorable Bisai, he sent me the message as per your request. He has said that I've had an emergency family tragedy here. Comrade Job, can you please read the way forward for me? And then he did send me the way forward, which was agreed by the team. with me here. So when we come to the subject of way forward, I will read what Comrade Bishai has sent to me. I
Right.
thank you.
Thank you very much. My sister Selenko said, "Do you want to come in?"
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, you're loud and clear. Please go ahead.
Okay. I wanted to answer Owen when he mentioned the matter of the MPs that how is there a way what the citizens can do so that the MPs in parliament could be on our side. I think he asked something like that. So I wanted to advise him that at this stage we can no longer rely on MPs in parliament because it's not like they are not aware of what is happening. At this stage, they are also willing participants in whatever that is happening. They are fully in support of whatever is happening because we've seen those that are not in support of what is happening or that did not or that were not satisfied with the 2023 election. They resigned from parliament. So if those that remain there, I think for now they are willing participants and we cannot rely on them. And at this stage, we must not wait for them to. We have to take this struggle upon our hands now. It's all our responsibility as citizens. Thank you. I hope he is answered.
Right. Thank you very much. Off-titers, I want us to take the last set of questions, but can we just give our sisters, our mothers who have requested to speak, give them the opportunity to add, their voice. I know Serena is one of them. I don't know if there are any others, that you can see, in there that can come in and pose, questions. Our sisters, our mothers, where are you? Raise raise your hands so that to go on. It was one-sided. We did not get the opportunity to speak. I don't know if they are there amongst the 23 that are remaining or those that have requested to speak. But right, if they are not any of okay, I'm not seeing, I'm not seeing any other, but apart from Sarina, but you can, right, you can add you can add the other two, and then hopefully that will get us to Honorable Job Sikala giving us the way forward.
Absolutely. Okay. So while I'm adding the other one, can I go to Sarina, please, if you can ask your question?
Okay, thank you very much on this platform. How are you guys? I'm very happy to join you today. Ndanga ndine confusion but ndazodairwa because my question was ndaida kuziva kuti chakakosha kutanga constitution here kana kuti kutanga nema reforms, but fortunately ndadairwa. Chechipiri is just a small submission. ZANU-PF iri kutya kusvika pekupedzisira, vari kuedza zvese, like let me just try to sound stupid nezvakaitika kuparliament. Nyaya yekudzimwa kwemagetsi, they did it deliberately. Vakaita plan yekudzima iwo magetsi, vari kuzivana. Magetsi haanambodzimika accidentally. Why am I saying this? Vanga vazviona kuti vamosha. So vanhu vese vanga vakamirira nyaya yanamukoma Job. Munhu wese anga akamira achiida. So ivo ndobva vaona kuti havagone kuibuda. Zvakare nekuzopisa kwavakanga vaita, ndobva vafunga plan, ndobva vatuma munhu kuti unozodzima magetsi. Kuitira kuti ma-citizens alose focus ye-constitution and then titange kutaura nenyaya yemagetsi. I'm just assuming kuti ndozvavakazviitira. And I'm trying even to think kuti it's a lie kuti minister adzingwa basi. but vagara vanga vachingochinja maministers avo. It's a lie. Atori nekumwe kwaatoiswa minister uyavo. Saka ZANU-PF iri kutoti nyepera, hakuna magetsi akambodzimwa accidentally. Inyaya yavakatogadzira havo vega. Thank you very much for this time, Yamandipo.
All right. No, thank you, Sarina, for that. Can I go to Tatenda?
Thank you, Moftatas. Thank you, Uncle Jared, and thank you to our panel, Yema constitutional defenders. Thank you for taking the initiative to listen to the people when we have been speaking for quite a long time, and you take it into practical. So mine is pick. I wanted to check with panel the roadmap you are going to give us, but are you going to also tabulate the issues that we are fighting against into all languages that can reach every corner of Zimbabwe? Because we have to narrow the information to get to every corner so that we drive everyone to be part and parcel of this fight. Because ikangoperera cities, ikangoperera the learning people, it might minimize the struggle. And what tools are you also putting in place of utilizing people who are outside to be the vehicle that will move that information? Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Tatenda, for that. Can I go to Fabish for the last question, please?
Oh, good, Muribo.
Bobo, should you say?
Tatendevia, Uncle Jed, Nanatarin. Honorables, Muribo. I just want to hear from this gentleman and the lady. Chete muno echechi anagona kukwira kuti ave padenga panapa. Kune consent yakatogwa nechechi, and we know churches have been a big contributing factor in terms of corruption and actually making citizenry to be very inactive in our society. And somehow, it seems like at least we don't tend to speak about this type of corruption that is actually happening in the system. And politicians, and also as much as that, I don't know where they hold back, because this is their party, their duty and responsibility, whereby they are actually supposed to help redeem those people from poverty and suffrage. So how are these people, how are you actually going to tackle this issue of churches, especially in trying to go and get back that consent that the churches have taken? Because some of these charlatans actually who are actually there, because I'm not saying that all of them are bad, there are good churches outside there. Some of these charlatans actually have taken away the consent of the people by even exactly telling them right straight in front on their pulpits and saying, I support such and such a party, and such a president is good. And yet by the end of the day, you're also seeing that, they are benefiting, they are part and parcel of the corrupt system that is actually happening in the country. Because I've never heard of any politician so far so good trying to call out the churches and saying, listen, you are actually exacerbating this issue of oppression and dictatorship and facilitating 2030 by actually endorsing this dictatorship. I would have wanted to say something else to Nkoma Prince, but anyway, let's just deal with that one. Thank you.
All right. No, thank you so much, Fabish, for that. So before I go to our panel, I've just got one question in my inbox as well to Prince Dubeko, saying, the people stand with the civil servants. He said, what message should you send to those inside the system who privately agree but are afraid to speak out? So what message can you send out to them, just to give them assurance that the people are standing with them? So any of our panelists, if you want to take Tatenda's question, comment from Sarina and Fabish, last question.
I think you read a question specifically to me about how you can give confidence to those that are within the system. Did I get you correctly?
That is correct, yes.
You know, to build confidence, I don't know what example I can give, but to give confidence, you should be able to put the other person into your confidence, and to an extent that they can say, you know what, let me give you an imaginary thing. Maybe let's say you have got a rope, and someone is about to drown, and you have got a helicopter. You throw a rope to that person, and that person entirely depends on you to pull them into safety. So if you can build and even if you don't build, but if you can, I don't know what to say. I'm sorry, I'm failing to express myself, but I want to say, if you can say to the other person, you know what, I'm your partner in this, and you can trust me, and together we can move forward and reach where we are going to. If we can be able to do that, I think we are as good as would have achieved whatever we wanted. The goodwill is just amazing. It is the confidence that lacks. So we need to build a confidence measure, a confidence platform that can make everyone else to say, you know what, here we are, and there we are going. I think if we can do that, it's possible. I hope I have answered my brother's question. And there was the other brother that wanted to ask me some other question. You can come into my DM if you felt like you couldn't answer that question here. Thank you.
No, thank you, Prince Ubeka, for that. Then there was also Tatenda. Tatenda spoke. If anyone wants to respond to that, I think we still have Honorable Scala. You're still there. Do you want to tackle Tatenda's question?
Yeah, Tatina's question is very plausible, but it's part and parcel of the way forward that I was given by Comrade Usai to share with you on how we are going to make sure that this message reaches all the four corners of the country in all languages available. We are happy that we have got so many people here, and also who are part of this group. We have sacrificed to come together and have and fight under one umbrella. Who are able to speak almost all the languages. Matueko Swanda here is able to speak Tonga. You can write Tonga, can write Nambia, can write Ndebele. You know, we have got others who can write Sutu, who can write other local languages, who can write Shangani and so forth. We will make sure that the message is reduced into simplified versions of what we need to achieve and deliver as a people. So definitely we agree with you in terms of making sure that the access is made to all other languages, so that every citizen will partake into this process. Then there was another question on the corruption in the churches. I would have loved Dr. Gomo to have been part and parcel of this discussion, so that he will answer for himself as far as the members of the clergy have become part and parcel to drive the corruption agenda in our country. It would have become more authentic coming from one of them on how he reassures the citizens of our country to restore our faith in those people who claim to have been sent to be servants of God. Whether we would believe that Prophet Samuel would have accepted corruption for him to anoint another son of Jesse who was not David, and would he have accepted a gift that has been stolen from the poor, or whether Jesus Christ was going to accept alms coming from the stolen properties of those who needed the most, you know. So those questions could have been answered by them because they are the men of cloth who knows the theological, teachings on how the men of cloth should show and demonstrate to act that they are truly sent to be saviors of the poor.
Honorable, can I just ask this? I mean,
yes.
How are you going to take? How are you as politicians going to take back consent from those members in the church who are actually influenced by those men of God?
The truth of the matter is that not all those people who are influenced by the men of cloth believe in them when it comes to issues of politics. They go there for the purpose of salvation and not for political fodder. The majority of these people, belong to the progressive forces in our country. We should never condemn through umbrella. After Sapatina, I received a delegation from the Apostolic Church of the same church where this man, Sapatina was coming from. They came at my house, knocked and talked to me for over 2 hours, saying that we are not part and parcel of that that heresy you recently had. So please, don't give us label us with the same brush. When you have got one outcast in a family, it doesn't mean that all your family members, Uncle Jeds, are criminals. If one person comes as out as a criminal in the family, so we must be able to distinguish the behavior of individuals to the behavior of the generality of the people who belongs to that particular denomination or not. And I know quite a number of many people who belongs to Bishop Mtendi's church, Zion Christian Church. Some of them who are my relatives, who completely disagree with the theological teachings of their bishop, who says, no, we don't belong to that. It is his own views, and we have got our own views as his members. And some of them are even position holders in democratic forces. So basically, don't think that what these the great elders or leaders of the churches do is exactly what their congregants believe in. It's completely different. Please bear with that. Let us not label the followers of leaders to believe in the political orientation of their leaders. No, it's completely different.
Right. Thank you very much, for that, Honorable Scala. Can I give you another opportunity to give us the way forward, responding to the questions that have been raised, and then I'll kindly ask each and every one of the panels who are on this, who are left here, to give us a minute of each in terms of their closing remarks, and then I'll take over in Titus and we'll bring this to a close. Over to you, Honorable Scala.
No, thank you very much, Uncle Jeds. I think we are just left with 10 minutes now to close this space. Yes, it was from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. It's now 10 minutes to 10 Zoom time. The way forward is the following. Establish a united democratic and a principled constitutional united front, which is inclusive, non-elitist, and rooted in the will of the people to defend the constitution and democracy. Mobilize nationwide action through community, labor, youth, and citizens forum to raise awareness and build collective resistance. Employ lawful and peaceful means of resistance. That includes protests, boycotts, stay-aways, general strikes, and civil disobedience to defend the Constitution and democracy. Commit to peaceful, firm, and lawful defense of the Constitution in solidarity with all citizens inside and outside Parliament. Then avoid approaching courts for any form of litigation, knowing well that the courts of Zimbabwe have never delivered people-centered judgments. The messaging is clear. Zimbabwe's future cannot be mortgaged by unconstitutional ambitions. The people are the custodians of the Constitution, and together we will defend it. I thank you. The message from Comrade Kusai.
All right. Thank you very much, for that. I do appreciate. If there are any questions that are arising from that, ladies and gentlemen, we will. You can forward them, or we can arrange another conversation where they can be answered to. But for now, I mean, it's been almost 4 hours now. So can I kindly ask the remaining panelists to just give us a minute each of your final, remarks, address, the citizens of Zimbabwe. So I can start with my sister Silenko Simoyo. What do you want to say to the citizens who are listening to you right now?
Okay. I just want to say to the citizens that are listening right now that we have a long way to go. From what I've seen yesterday, the regime is has already set up its mechanisms to push their 2030 agenda. So if we are to defend and we are to stand against it, we need all hands on the deck. We need everyone to participate as a citizen. We put our political jackets aside. We work as citizens so that we stop this. Because if we start grouping each other as political parties, ZANU-PF knows how to disband political parties within a minute. So we should avoid that, and all be united. Every progressive forces, everyone is invited. We unite and we push and we stop this 2030 agenda. I thank you.
Thank you very much, for that. Over to you, Honorable Prince Tobacco.
Thank you, Uncle Jens. I think my sister and my brothers have literally summarized everything. I will encourage that we turn every community structure. You see, the good part of this country is that we are highly, highly structured. You go in any community, you'll find that there's a borehole committee. There is a village committee. There are committees about literally everything, including school committees, SDAs. Let's turn those committees into resistance committees. Let every committee turn itself, in addition to whatever it was formulated for, to be a committee to resist 2030. Passively, peacefully, non-violently, silently, we will be heard. And we need to develop a little bit of more endurance. It shall be shaky. There will be a lot of friction that is going to happen. There will be a lot of pain that is going to face us, but we need to adapt and deal with the situation like other countries are doing. It's good to see these things happening in Cameroon. It's good to see these things happening in Tanzania. If these things can happen in Madagascar, they can happen as well here. Let everyone be alert, including our Gen Zs. It is for them that we are fighting. The majority of us are fighting because we want the Gen Zs to enjoy a better life. Let their college life not be a waste of time, but let it be an investment for a stable future. And together, indeed, we can do it. Thank you so much, Uncle Gerard.
Right. Thank you very much. I do appreciate. Over to you, Honorable Sikala, for your final remarks.
Thank you very much, Uncle Jez, for hosting us today. Quite a large number, over 1,000, have been listening live throughout this whole discussion. And I hope we have shared with our colleagues and the Zimbabwean population at large our thoughts about how we are going to resist the 2030 agenda. Secondly, we have seen what happened yesterday when they tried to throttle us to speak out to the people of Zimbabwe and also to the world about why we are against the 2030 agenda. We must be able to use technology to defeat dictatorship. Dictatorship is still living in the past, where they don't know that there are now new means and methods for us to convey messages to the world, even against difficult situations. The members of the press who could have come and covered our press conferences yesterday could not exceed 50 at maximum at our various press conferences, but we have been able to address over 1,000. Zimbabwe's today is as good as addressing a rally. So our message is now reached out to the people, and we must continue using technology to reach as many people as we can. Let it be the cry of the people of Zimbabwe starting from today that in our Twitter posts, every day we must dedicate 1, 2, or 3 posts concerning the issue of the mutilation of our constitution. This thing must bring all of us together. We must all use the tools that we have, especially the advancement of technology. Would it be on YouTube? Would it be on TikTok? Would it be on Instagram? Would it be on X? And wherever, whatever space that we have, we must be able to speak out about this issue. It must become an international outcry. We must be able to create a crisis for this regime. We are going to make sure that we are not going to look back, because we know this regime is a regime of cowards. We must be able to create a crisis for them. The moment they start beating people, arresting them, and persecuting them, the crisis will escalate to a certain level. So we must not be afraid for us to continue with this agenda to make sure that this thing becomes and creates a national crisis in our nation. We must not be hesitant for us to speak out. Let's speak out. Let's use as much time as we can for us to make sure that we put things good in our country. I thank all of you who have managed to come and listen to this important conversation. And also thank you, Uncle Jez, the host and the co-host Titus, for the good job that you have done for us. You have not only done us a favor, but you have done the people of Zimbabwe a favor, because the people of Zimbabwe wanted to hear our prayer yesterday, like what our sister said, that the people of Zimbabwe were waiting for our press conferences yesterday, but unfortunately they had to create a drama in parliament so as to have something to be talked about their sona, because they noticed that out of their sona there was nothing that the people of Zimbabwe were going to discuss about. Everything was going to concentrate on the press conference that we were supposed to hold yesterday to speak against 2030 agenda, then to switch the electricity for themselves so that the people of Zimbabwe will have something to talk about their sona, to say, hey, electricity have been switched on the sona, so, and then divert our attention from the real issue that is confronting the people of Zimbabwe, which is the 2030 nonsense. So all of us We must be focused. Let us not be diverted by sideshows and the dramas these people are creating for us to create conversations in our country. The conversation and the debate in the country, like what Honorable Tueko Swada said, would it be in the deep tank, in buses, even in toilets, in beer halls, everywhere? It must be the debate about people who are trying to criminally extend their terms of office, who want to commit a coup against the people of Zimbabwe, both in terms of our domestic and international law. That will not allow it to happen. That will resist having the support of our own constitution and also international law. And we are not going to stop. We will foster this campaign not only in Zimbabwe, but internationally. We are happy that we are now well linked international everywhere by all institutional bodies that deals with these issues of trying to commit a coup against our people to make sure that this campaign goes wild internationally. Even if one of us is going to be eliminated for this cause, so be it. We are prepared for any consequences. I thank you.
Wow, thank you very much for that. Over to you, I'm over Titus.
No, thank you so much, Honorable Scala. Thank you so much, Prince Jibeko Subanda. I really appreciate Slenko say I really appreciate you too. Honorable Tendai Biti, I think you've left, but we want to thank you as well. There have been quite a lot has been said tonight, really quite a lot, and I think we have learned some history, we have learned some legal aspects of it. There's quite been a lot that we've learned, but I think my key takeaway is that the constitution is the last line of defense, and obviously we need to defend our institution, regardless of what's happening on the other end. The institutions may be banned, our courts can be compromised, but I think the spirit of our people remains. So my key takeaway really is that people coming together, there's power in it. So let's peacefully, fearlessly, and just come together like that. But I really appreciate every contribution. So, Uncle, I think you can take it home.
Right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, everybody that took part in this conversation. As you said, thanks to our panel, thanks to the people that came, Honorable Tendai Biti, Honorable Prince Tuveko, my sister Slenko Simoyo, our brother and President of Atus, Obed, Jacob Ngarivume, Honorable, Job Sikala, and the folks that has come through to ask questions, and not forgetting Honorable Munyaraz Gwisai for the way forward. I think people have got so many questions pertaining that they need clarity on some aspect, and I'm hoping that maybe we can convene another space that will specifically touch on the way forward. It will be very much I think it will do it will be something that people will be in a position to accept, will be in a position to engage with, because most of the questions that people had was on the way forward, and those points that have been articulated, they can be expanded more by having a space that is specific to that. So I'll speak to the conveners, and I'll speak to the leaders, and we'll see if we can have another space again where we can be doing this. I want to thank I've seen members of the fourth state, the journalists that were in this platform as well. I want to thank you very much, and I hope in your reporting, your reporting is going to capture exactly what has been said here. And I want to also thank the members of the Varakasi Brigade. I see you were here, you were listening, and we look forward to your propaganda. But no amount of twisting what has been said here will do justice to whatever it is that you're going to be putting out there. The beauty of this space is everybody is welcome, and I hope you've learned one or two things about your political party and what your leaders are intending on doing. If you are a young person and Guti, you got time, vamwe venyu madharamu kuteeraya, they are in their twilight, they are in their evening time. So, it's maybe what has been said here will make you think, could as a young person, what is going to be a future like in 50 years' time? So, you know what, having said that, but mm, 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 to the listeners, to those that were listening and that were with us from the beginning and until now, I want to thank you very much. Your support is valuable. Your support is appreciated. Those that have reposted this, thank you very much, for doing so. Those that have streamed this, thank you very much, for doing so. Let us continue with our conversations and let us continue, on this agenda, because some of us, we have actually resigned to the fact that we want to be part and parcel, of this conversation. There's an announcement that I'll make, in due course, pertaining, to this, space. So that announcement is going to be appealing, especially to those folks, who are in Zimbabwe. Um, I know Kutizo is kind of, difficult, for you, in Zimbabwe, right now. But I think I've got a job for you, and I'll be announcing that, in due course, because we want, this material to be packaged in some sort of way. I don't know how, you guys are going to be doing it, but I want this to be packaged in some sort of way. The speeches that have been given, anyone that can isolate every speaker speech, Tendai Biti speech, Jogonga Ngarume speech, Honorable Prince Adweko speech, my sister, Silenko's Moyo speech, and Obet speech, Honorable Scala speech. If people can, if you can isolate, those, trim those, isolate them. We want to be packaging those individual speeches, and we want them to go viral. So I'll be announcing, the next way forward on how, I want us, to be doing that. It's high time that we get, this message kuti isvike kune vakasiyana siyana. And also I'll be making an announcement, inviting those that can translate, as well. It will be very much appreciated if we can get that. So those are things, that are in the pipeline, and in due course I will be announcing, the way forward on those, aspects. But thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and to my panelists, we have stayed until, this time. I appreciate you, and I have to let you go. For now, it is good night, but tomorrow we live to fight another day. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and goodbye.